Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world. Pull up a chair. It's time to get down to the business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. Glad to be with you all here again this evening. We are just going to jump right into it here. Last night, I was only going to give a few minutes to this subject, and then we wound up being interrupted. So I feel it is incumbent upon me now, instead of just giving it a couple of minutes, I think instead I'll just take it as an opportunity to run wild on you. We have been inundated, unfortunately, in this internet age with a bunch of bad information, and you have seen as the establishment has propped up endless distractions for the purposes of sowing confusion. Therefore, it falls to me to dispel those confusions. A lot of you grew up without fathers in your homes, and you've been looking for surrogate fathers ever since. And anything that halfway resembles one, you just kind of coalesce around it, even if it's totally wrong. But it is my duty to make sure that people are properly informed and illuminated on this going forward. There isn't anything I don't know about these things. And now people are just now catching up to what I've been saying to them now for well over a year in regard to this black winosphere. They call themselves a manosphere, but it's a winosphere that sits around endlessly whining. But more than that, from the very beginning, it was very, very clear that these individuals, this group, this rabble was getting together and perpetuating a whole bunch of white supremacist talking points. And that was an issue. So I was articulating early on to be watchful of those things. I was seeing what was happening. And I said, we're going to go ahead and catalog that for future reference. And that is what we're going to do here tonight for you. What I want to do here is I actually want to start with, I'm going to go ahead and actually start with Fresh and Misfit. And in the interest of making sure that you all are properly informed on this, I'm actually going to play the actual video. I'm going to play the actual video here for you because I want you to see this. And don't worry, I don't expect this to convince any of their sycophants and lackeys. But for the rest of you who are wondering what the issue was, you just ask yourselves a few questions about whether or not this is really who you want to be around here and what you really want to do. So what I wanted to do here is I'm going to go ahead and play for you the first one here. I'm going to play these in rapid succession. So we're going to do that first, and then we are going to move on to the next one here. This is from March 1st, 2021. There they are sitting with White Daddy, i.e. Rollo Tomasi. And, well, you can hear for yourselves and you tell me how many of you agree with this.
Actually, okay, we'll hit 647, then I have a couple of questions here. Cool. Go ahead. Shoot. 647, we got Canada in the house.
What's up?
Yep. Aligns itself with affirmative action, African Americans, minorities in general. The reason why, guys, is because if the water raises for feminism, it raises for everybody else. But if it raises for minorities, it also raises for them. So basically, I'll tell you guys the truth. Uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. The common enemy is the white man. That's what everyone is trying to say. Oh, they have all the privileges. You're white privilege. You're white man. If you're a white male, heterosexual, WASP, you are a public enemy number one in the United States nowadays. I'm saying this as a colored guy. It's tough out here for them. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna attack them. Right? This is exactly what Hitler did. Hey, let's find a common enemy. We unite against them, and then bang, say that we're being, what's the word? Like we're in a position of they have all the power. We're not in a position of power. Let's unite and take them down. Yeah. We're oppressed, right? So white men are the common enemy, and then feminism, minorities, transgenders, etc. They just unite together because they know that if they all work together, they'll be able to take down the alleged evil white male. But I'm here to tell you guys that I think affirmative action a lot of time is BS. You should be hired on your merit, not on the color of your skin or what's in between your pants. That's some bullshit.
That's because the reason you think that is because you're approaching this from a masculine understanding of what respect is.
Actually, it seems like you're approaching it from a coonish perspective of what manhood is. By the way, to all the fresh and misfit butt kissers out there, how many of you agree with what you just heard? Call it immigrant values or whatever. How many of you agree with that? Oh, am I twisting this? Is that hating because I'm playing his words, by the way? And I'm going to play this for you one more time because, by the way, it's not me just cherry picking one thing here. I want you to hear it because, by the way, this is going to become a very familiar refrain.
Because he's lagging a bit, the sound. Sorry, man, your connection's bad, but we were able to hear what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, but he said it was an extension of what?
So the
the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Like they see those guys as part of sort of Team Woman.
I was gonna say this. So yes, I agree 100%. Because there's a reason why like feminism aligns itself with like affirmative action, African Americans, minorities in general. The reason why, guys, is because if the water raises for feminism, it raises for everybody else. But if it raises for minorities, it also raises for them. So basically, I'll tell you guys the truth. Uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. The common enemy is the white man. That's what everyone is trying to say. Oh, they have all the privileges. You're white privilege. You're white man. If you're a white male, heterosexual, WASP, you are a public enemy number one in the United States nowadays. I'm saying this as a colored guy. It's tough out here for them. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna attack them. Right? This is exactly what Hitler did. Hey, let's find a common enemy. We unite against them, and then bang, say that we're being, what's the word? Like we're in a position of they have all the power. We're not in a position of power. Let's unite and take them down. Yeah. We're oppressed, right? So white men are the common enemy, and then feminism, minorities, transgenders, etc. They just unite together because they know that if they all work together, they'll be able to take down the alleged evil white male. But I'm here to tell you guys that I think affirmative action a lot of time is BS. You should be hired on your merit, not on the color of your skin or what's in between your pants. That's some bullshit.
That's because the reason you think that is because you're approaching this from a masculine understanding of what respect is.
All right, now was that just a short sound bite taken out of context? I want to know who's still rolling with Fresh and Misfit after this. I want to know who's still rolling. Is this your man? Hey, y'all need to share this right quick. I know that I'm hurting some feelings here. While everybody's talking about Abba and preaching and everything, by the way, is this your man? Is this your man? Go ahead. Who's still caping? Who's talking about they still rolling with it? Oh, he says some good things. Who's still rolling? I want to know who agrees with this. I just want you to hold your hands up and say, well, that just one clip right there, dude. That just one clip right there, dude. I mean, yeah, I want to know who still agrees. I want to know who goes with this. I want to know who's going with this. Oh, I can hear the coons and buck dancers now. Well, that just one clip right there, dude, man. I mean, what you saying right there? I mean, there's contact to it, though, man. There's contact. I mean, that just one clip. It's never embarrassing enough. They can't talk their way out of that. Now what they're going to just say is, oh, well, that's just one clip. Unfortunately for you, it's kind of not just one clip, actually. No, I did not bring receipts. I brought invoices. I do not tell you what you paid. I tell you what you owe. Oh, it's going to be a long-ass night for you. It's going to be a long-ass night for you. Someone made the mistake of asking these buffoons, or these buffoons made the mistake of deciding that they wanted to dispense more of their infinite wisdom. And man, oh man, did they ever. June 29th, 2021, critical race theory deconstructed as feminine energy. Well, the boys are back again. And if you thought that last clip was embarrassing, butt dancing, white butt kissing, and cringeworthy, hang on to your fisherman hats. You ain't heard nothing yet.
You know what? I'm gonna say an unpopular thing. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. You want to know who's really being prejudiced against? White men.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a stack, man. Affirmative action. All these things we have in place.
Most hated.
It's overcorrected to the point where we are literally ostracizing white men, man. We want to hire colored people. We want to hire women. We want to, if you're a colored woman, you're going to be, there's a higher probability that you're going to get hired for a job, you know what I'm saying, over a white male. We've done all this pretty much to mitigate white male influence. I get it. Oh, they had all the power, so now we got to correct for it. All right, cool. We've overcorrected now. Nowadays, we live in a world where we got Caucasian men running around saying, I'm sorry for what happened to you 500 years ago, as if they had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're trying to punish them and shame them or whatever. And it's completely okay to treat Caucasian men like shit in today's day and age.
It is. And
I'm going to speak for them. Fuck it, because they can't even say, if they say, they're going to be like, you're white privilege, all this extra bullshit. It's like,
let's look at what the shutdowns did. We're talking about critical race theory.
Yeah, and this character here, no wonder Joe Rogan likes this character, whoever he is. Joe Rogan likes him, so that's all you need to know. Is this your man? All the fresh and fit butt kissers out there, by the way, all the fresh and fit fanboys, is this your man? Come on over here and claim this. You need to come on over here and claim this now. Jason, play the clips. Oh, you didn't really want me to do this. Trust me, you didn't really want me to go here and start playing the clips. I need y'all to come claim your man over here is what I need you to do. I don't believe they butt dancing. Oh, Jason, you reaching. Oh, I'm sitting. Do you see how long that audio clip went on, by the way? Do you see how long? Somebody in the chat room is already trying to tap out. Okay, you made your point. You made your point, man. Can we just tap out? Let me keep my daddy. No, I'm not letting you keep no internet daddies. You're going to have to accept he's a coon and so are you. If you still back him, he's a coon, so are you, though. He's one and so are you. Just hold this L and both of you be admitted coons. Here's your name tag. There you go. Just go ahead and have that as your name tag. But yeah, you're going to have to hold this L and be what you are. Oh man, I'm hurting a whole lot of damn feelings here tonight, aren't I? I'm hurting so many damn feelings here tonight. Boy, they're going to be upset with me about this. Should I go ahead and let them go? Oh, hell no, let it roll.
Let's talk about the shut.
You know what? I'm going to say an unpopular thing. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. You want to know who's really being prejudiced against? White men.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a stack, man. Affirmative action, all these things we have in place.
Most hated.
It's overcorrected to the point where we are literally ostracizing white men, man. We want to hire colored people. We want to hire women. We want to, if you're a colored woman, you're going to be, there's a higher probability that you're going to get hired for a job, you know what I'm saying, over a white male. We've done all this pretty much to mitigate white male influence. I get it. Oh, they had all the power, so now we got to correct for it. All right, cool. We've overcorrected now. Nowadays, we live in a world where we got Caucasian men running around saying, I'm sorry for what happened to you 500 years ago, as if they had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're trying to punish them and shame them or whatever. And it's completely okay to treat Caucasian men like shit in today's day and age.
It is. And
I'm going to speak for them. Fuck it, because they can't even say, if they say, they're going to be like, you're white privilege, all this extra bullshit. It's like,
let's look at what the shutdowns did. We're talking about critical race theory. Let's talk about the shutdowns. So who was in charge of the shutdowns? And we want to talk, this is white people, right? Mostly on the left-leaning side of things.
As you can see, all these coons running packs.
He said, keep business open. We want to keep this thing going.
All the cities that are coming out, LA, New York City, even Miami. Miami is the most liberal city in Florida. We're the last ones to open, last county.
Yeah. And who does that hurt?
The
black
people.
Business.
Yep, it really does.
So are we going to talk about that in the CRT conversation? No.
Of course not.
Because they can't have you looking at the truth. Because one thing with the whole Black Lives Matter conversation that Trump did, it actually got black people activated and thinking and working together and doing black business. So it did activate them. They're like, all right, these people are activated, but it looks like they're going away from our thing. Let's keep them distracted with the racism. So the new thing now is CRT, and everybody's talking about CRT, critical race theory, and analyzing why they call us the N-word. But I told you before, that's got to do with resources. And what do you want?
So now we're just going to intellectualize things into oblivion, essentially, at here. So I want to find out here, is this your man? Is what I'm trying to find out. Is this your man? Somebody come show this. Whose man is this over here? All you fresh and fit butt kissers, who's your man? Because if we just keep playing this, I literally could allow them to just keep on talking, and it literally just keeps going like that, by the way. It literally just keeps on going like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I making you uncomfortable by playing that for you there? Am I making you uncomfortable? By the way, because this dovetails off of what you just heard, and when he was sitting in front of White Daddy Rollo Tomasi, he was saying the same thing. Remember, white men are the most oppressed people. White men are the most oppressed people. That was your second clip right there telling you that. That was the second one. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I making you feel bad? Some of you thought you found a new internet daddy and whatnot. Now it's making you feel you're blaming me because I'm not playing along with it. You're blaming me because some of us are just grown men about this. No, I'm here to break your ass a little bit more about it.
So we need to get out of this feel situation and deal with facts versus feelings and racial past and everything else like that. It is what it is, man. We're at a point now where it's like, are we really going to, complain and try to get reparations for something that happened centuries ago? Every people has been persecuted at some point in history, man. I'm not trying to say that African Americans haven't been through it, man. We have. You know what I'm saying? We have. But it's like,
okay, when he says we have, hold on, don't you always tell people your folks from Sudan? When you talk about reparations, that ain't you, fella. That ain't you. And damn sure ain't dude over there who thinks he's going shopping for a heater. And it sure as hell ain't him. It ain't Mushmouth over there. So I don't know what you mean by we, dude, but all right.
Other people have suffered too. And we've gotten to a point now where it's completely socially acceptable to attack. Every people has been persecuted at some point in history, man. I'm not trying to say that African Americans haven't been through it, man. We have. You know what I'm saying? We have. But it's like other people have suffered too. And we've gotten to a point now where it's completely socially acceptable to attack Caucasian people, namely white men, call them racial slurs with zero consequence. Mm-hmm. Whereas if they point out the statistical fact, it's immediately met with you're a bigot, you're a racist, whatever it is, because they have that cloak of I'm black, so I can say whatever I want and I can attack other races as well because I was persecuted centuries ago.
Yo, quick tip on that, man. So I'm new to the States, right? I've been here 6 years. And my mom always told me, Walter, when you go to the States, be careful. You might get shot by cops. And I'm like, why would I get shot by cops? I'm not going to say anything crazy. And what happens is I see all the time on these videos, people are like, yo, I'm not showing you my ID. Who the hell are you? Why you pulling me over?
Yeah.
I got pulled over 3 times, right, bro? 2 were white guys and 1 was a black cop, right?
Oh, now I wonder where this is going. Now, I got pulled over 3 times. And 2 of them were white guys and 1 of them were black. Okay, I wonder where this is going. I wonder if he's about to say the white dudes weren't racist, but the black person was. I wonder if that's where this is going.
I was like, yo, 2 white guys, I was like, yo, hey, officer, how's it going? What did I do wrong? Okay, cool, no problem. Like, you know what? Have a good night, sir. You cool about it? Everybody's cool, happy, right? But the black cop was like, black chick was like, yo, I'm having a bad day. Fuck it, I'm gonna give you a ticket. So
yeah, there you go.
Approach the
There you go. I thought that's where you were going with it. I thought that's where you were going with that. All right. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, this fella here was named Hotel, whatever. Yeah, this cartoon character here is looking the same way I'm thinking about here. Really? Really, dude? Although he's probably sitting there, I agree with that right there. Where the white women at? But yeah, that's how you should be looking at a coonish, clownish statement like that. Is this your man? All the fresh and fit butt kissers, man. Is this your man? I'm just trying to figure out. You wanted me to play the clips and whatnot. No, you didn't really want me to do this. You just thought you wanted me to do this. You didn't really want me to do this. Would you like me to go ahead and keep roasting at this point right here? Do you really want me to do that? Or do you want me to go ahead and let you hold on to your moist satin and silk fantasies here? By the way. Or would you like for me to go ahead and just let it keep on going? For all the fresh and fit butt kissers out there, I would say I was warning you about this all over a year ago. I ain't said nothing up to this point. The rest of the world is finally catching up to what I've been saying the whole damn time. They're finally now, over a year later, catching up to what I've been saying all this time. I'm like, by the way, these videos have been out there, man. They've been talking like black members of the alt-right. They've been talking like black members of the alt-right all this time. Been doing that. And you needed me to come along and say something all this time later? Why should that even be necessary? Y'all didn't sit up here and question any of this. Folks ain't got out here and did they due diligence or nothing. They just letting it ride, basically. It's just whatever. That's what I was saying last night. So you're gonna defend them first and then figure out what the hell you're defending second? Who in the hell taught you all due diligence?
Little plastic guns, and they told them, okay, we're going to put you in a situation that a police officer would often be dealt with. They shot every single time. Bad shoots every single time.
Now here he is trying to talk about how tough it is to be a police officer. Here he is talking about how tough it is to be a police officer. Wait till you get folks, if you thought you were done cringing, all of y'all are going to be in the fetal position by the time this program is over.
So people would never understand the issues and problems that law enforcement officers come into play where their life is on the line and they don't fucking know you.
There's a soundbite for you. People will never understand the situations that law enforcement officers are in. There's a soundbite. There's a soundbite for your ass, isn't it?
So people would never understand the issues and problems that law enforcement officers come into play where their life is on the line and they don't fucking know you. They don't know what's in the car. They don't know what's going on. All they know is that this person is acting extremely aggressive off of something that's minuscule, and we didn't have to go with that. We got to have some accountability here. It's not because of the color of your skin. It's because of the way that you acted after the fact. If he comes in and he has preconceived notions about colored people, don't perpetuate the stereotype.
Making it worse.
You're making it worse. If he really is racist, why don't you just dispel the racism, the possible racism? Just, hey, officer, how are you doing today? Hands on the steering wheel. Be polite, courteous, treat him like a human being. Oh, why the fuck you pulling me over? It's because I'm black. No.
For what?
Just how are you doing, officer, today? License registration, I'm going to be reaching for it here. Is that okay with you? When you take these like little steps to show that you care about their safety and they're a human being, you know what happens? Oh, you know what? Thank you. Have a good day. I'll just give you a warning. But no one.
Is this your man? Okay, all you fresh and fit butt kissers. I mean, I know you fresh and fit fatherless crew. I know you grew up with no daddy in the home. You are mad as hell at your mama because she was a thought that got laid on by the block. And you will just gravitate to anybody who expresses and vents any type of anti-female rage and sentiment. Okay, I get it. But what I'm asking you is this you? I mean, is this your spokesperson? Because, by the way, this is what he's saying as well. Is this your spokesperson? You're mad at me. You're mad at me because I won't play along and pretend like this isn't what they've been saying the entire time. You're mad at me because I'm making you feel self-conscious because you have to hold this L and you have to be the coon as well. You're mad. Don't get mad at me. Why don't you get mad at them and say, hey, y'all need to knock off all this cooning over there? But you can't do that. You can't do that because they lack integrity and so do you. By the way, anybody who was asking, hey, Jason, by the way, you played your clips. No, you didn't. I don't believe they said that. Oh, no, it was a lot worse than that. If you really want to get down to it, it was a lot worse than that, by the way. I know I'm making you feel some kind of way right now. I know I'm making you feel some kind of way right now. I shouldn't even be able to do anything like that. I really shouldn't even be able to do any of this. This should be a foreign damn subject, to be totally honest. I shouldn't be able to do any of this, and yet here I am, and I'm able to do it. Here I am, and I am able to do it. And that's a problem. That's a problem. I'm going to go ahead and review it one more time here. For those of you who are just now joining us, I want you to go ahead and see here when you talk about fresh and misfit, there's a reason for it, folks. There's a reason for it. This is way before Abba and Preach. Way before Abba and Preach. Way before he got there.
Because he's lagging a bit, the sound. Sorry, man, your connection's bad, but we were able to hear what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, but he said it was an extension of what?
So
the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Like they see those guys as part of sort of Team Woman.
I was gonna say this. So yes, I agree 100%. Because there's a reason why like feminism aligns itself with like affirmative action, African Americans, minorities in general. The reason why, guys, is because if the water raises for feminism, it raises for everybody else. But if it raises for minorities, it also raises for them. So basically, I'll tell you guys the truth. Uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. The common enemy is the white man. That's what everyone is trying to say. Oh, they have all the privileges. You're white privilege. You're white man. If you're a white male, heterosexual, WASP, you are a public enemy number one in the United States nowadays. I'm saying this as a colored guy. It's tough out here for them. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna attack them. Right? This is exactly what Hitler did. Hey, let's find a common enemy. We unite against them, and then bang, say that we're being, what's the word? Like we're in a position of they have all the power. We're not in a position of power. Let's unite and take them down.
Yeah.
We're oppressed, right? So white men are the common enemy, and then feminism, minorities, transgenders, etc. They just unite together because they know that if they all work together, they'll be able to take down the alleged evil white male. But I'm here to tell you guys that I think affirmative action a lot of time is BS. You should be hired on your merit, not on the color of your skin or what's in between your pants. That's some bullshit.
That's because the reason you think that.
Well, is this your man? I just want to know, is this your man? That's all I'm trying to figure out right now. You tell me, is this your man? Is this your dude? He speaks for you. Or are you going to sit up here and say, well, I just don't agree with that part right there? Do you see how long they're going on? This is a fundamental bedrock foundation of their beliefs, especially when it comes to females. This even influences this is a direct influence on how they give you all, quote, game about females. And by the way, they're the most gameless dudes in the room, which is an even bigger laugh, by the way. You know, if your sex comes with a receipt, if your sex can be deducted on your taxes, yeah, you've kind of messed up in life, but all right. But in any case, I'm just asking here, hey, who's still backing these dudes? By the way, who's still backing them? And I just wanted to play that part there again for you so you can hear them. Oh, white men are the most oppressed people in the world now. Most oppressed now. This isn't me. Folks, when we talk about a lack of integrity, there's a reason why that keeps becoming a recurring theme here. It ain't just me saying it. It's not just one thing. It colors everything. It permeates everything. There's a reason you keep seeing it over and over again, because it permeates everything. And I shouldn't have been able to do that. There's no way in the hell I should be able to sit up here and do this. But if I'm able to keep doing this, then you need to check yourselves if you're still defending these guys.
You know what? I'm going to say an unpopular thing. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. You want to know who's really being prejudiced against? White men.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a stack, man. Affirmative action, all these things we have in place.
Most hated.
It's overcorrected to the point where we are literally ostracizing white men, man. We want to hire colored people. We want to hire women. We want to, if you're a colored woman, you're going to be, there's a higher probability that you're going to get hired for a job, you know what I'm saying, over a white male. We've done all this pretty much to mitigate white male influence. I get it. Oh, they had all the power, so now we got to correct for it. All right, cool. We've overcorrected now. Nowadays, we live in a world where we got Caucasian men running around saying, I'm sorry for what happened to you 500 years ago, as if they had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're trying to punish them and shame them or whatever. And it's completely okay to treat Caucasian men like shit in today's day and age.
It is. And
I'm going to speak for them. Because they can't even say, if they say, they're going to be like,
I'm going to speak for them. Wow.
We got Caucasian men running around saying, I'm sorry for what happened to you 500 years ago, as if they had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're trying to punish them and shame them or whatever. And it's completely okay to treat Caucasian men like shit in today's day and age.
It is. And
I'm going to speak for them. Because they can't even say, if they say, they're going to be like, you're white privilege, all this extra bullshit. It's like,
let's look at what the shutdowns did. We're talking about critical race theory.
Is this your man? Is this your man? All the folks who were caping for him last night, I'm just trying to figure out where y'all at, man. Where y'all at tonight? Y'all had to wait until Abba and Preach said something. Why is it that I've been saying this for over a year now. Abba and Preach shouldn't have had to say anything, truth be told. How is it I was sounding the alarm over a year ago and you just now listening because Abba and Preach said something? All right. Okay. Shout out to Kareem on the CashApp. We're going to stay on their necks here. I brought my guillotine. I ain't bringing boots. I'm bringing blades. I know I'm going to make you feel real bad. The next time you tune into them, you're going to have to sit here and acknowledge in the back of your head, I guess I'm a coon too, because I'm still sitting here. I guess I'm a coon too. All right. I mean, look, I just wanted to be very, very clear that you're clear in your mind about who and what you are. That's all I'm saying. We just need to be clear in your mind about who and what you are. I just don't want there to be any ambiguity about that. That's a very important thing. Let's just be very, very clear about who and what you are. No beating around the bush, no playing around. Let's just go ahead and be very clear. If you're going to defend these people, if you're going to sit up here and act like this is okay, then you're going to be all the way in.
We need to get out of this feel situation and deal with facts versus feelings and racial past and everything else like that. It is what it is, man. We're at a point now where it's like, are we really going to, complain and try to get reparations for something that happened centuries ago? Every people has been persecuted at some point in history, man.
No wonder he doesn't have a problem with, quote, the racial past, because it's not his.
I'm not trying to say that African Americans haven't been through it, man. We have. You know what I'm saying? We have. But it's like other people have suffered too. And we've gotten to a point now where it's completely socially acceptable to attack Caucasian people, namely white men, call them racial slurs with zero consequence. Mm-hmm. Whereas if they point out the statistical fact, it's immediately met with you're a bigot, you're a racist, whatever it is, because they have that cloak of I'm black, so I can say whatever I want and I can attack other races as well because I was persecuted centuries ago.
Yo, quick tip on that, man. So like I'm new to the States, right? I've been here 6.
I want to know here, who are the people? Who are the fresh and fit fans, the fresh and fit fanboys who are going to come and cape for white daddy, because they need your help over here for that. Because according to them, white men need protection. White men need defending. White men are helpless. According to these, you just heard it for yourselves. I know you feel kind of bad. I know you feel kind of bad about it here. I know you feel kind of bad about it, but all right. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead then. If that's really where you want to go with it, go ahead and do that. Now, I'm missing one in here. If it seems like I'm droning a little bit, it's actually because I know I'm missing one. I know I'm actually missing one in here.
So the new thing now is CRT, and everybody's talking about CRT, critical race theory, and analyzing why they call us the N-word. But I told you before, that's got to do with resources. Stuff trickles down in the culture.
So Hotep, what is the next step for us? 'Cause I feel like we spoke about what CRT means, what's really happening by.
Okay, I'm missing one. Hell, there was so much cooning going on here. I'm actually missing a couple of them in here. So you'll have to excuse me. I made so many notes. There was so much cooning going on. I've actually missed a couple of things in here. But they were basically saying that this is mostly white men who lost jobs when the pandemic happened here. Hey, is this your man? That's all I'm asking here. Is this your man who's gonna still ride for him? I'm trying to figure out all the fresh and misfit folk, all of you fatherless boys out there. Are you gonna stand strong and ride for your man, or are y'all gonna do like them? Do they really are they really indicative of your character? That you gonna abandon them like they abandoned themselves? Are you gonna cut and run like they did? That's all I'm asking here. Look, last night, by the way, is there anybody here tonight who wants to say, I don't believe that dude, I don't believe it? Where are the I don't believe that people? If you're gonna be a butt kisser and cape for your boys, if you're gonna cape for the boys here, go ahead and put your thong on, put your silk thong on, shave your legs. Go ahead and do that. I'm trying to figure out who's gonna cape for them now. Are you going to try to accuse people of reaching? Are you going to try to do that? So you're going to tell us this is... Don't worry, they're just going to say it's not enough. It doesn't matter what I play and how many of these I play. I can go on and on and on. By the way, I just chose a couple because I really want to find... I really just wanted to distill it down to those that encapsulate it best. But by the way, they're just going to sit up here and tell you it's not enough. They're going to tell you that what you just heard wasn't bad enough. Or they're going to tell you, well, just eat the meat and spit out the bones. Ain't nothing but a big ass bone. Ain't no meat on it. But they're going to tell you, go ahead and eat the meat and spit out the bones. What the hell? I don't see any of their boys in here tonight defending them. For those of you who are coming in here tonight, don't worry. As we go on, we're going to go ahead and replay these things. We're going to go ahead and replay these things as we go on here tonight. We're going to go ahead and replay it. So just hang tight here. Hang tight. Because there was a caller last night. Oh, he was real upset. He was real upset because he didn't know any better. He didn't know any better. And he was defending their internet man crush and whatnot. And they were defending stuff and didn't even know about it. Didn't even know what they were defending. So they got real mad at me about pointing out some things. I'm like, and it shouldn't have taken Abba and Preach to point this out. These dudes been bogus the whole damn time. They've been bogus the whole damn time. That's the problem. That's the problem. So what I've done here, last night, dude got real upset with me. Him and a bunch of the others, they were real upset and real mad. I don't believe that Kitten Heels was talking good about Thomas Sowell. I don't believe that there. I don't believe that. Well, how much checking into it have you done? I've only listened for a couple weeks. Did you investigate it all? No, not really. Can you go ahead? I don't believe that there. I don't believe that there. I don't believe that there. Okay, folks. Shouldn't they have to give an accounting of themselves? If you're going to ride this hard to defend somebody and claim it ain't so, if you're going to try to speak for their character to the point you say, I don't believe they would say that, you need to go ahead and stand up here and hold this L with them, by the way. Oh, folks, I don't bring receipts. I bring invoices. I don't tell you what you paid. I tell you what you owe. So, yeah. Now, by the way, I could do something else. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I could do something else. I'm not gonna do it. I won't. I know some of you are worried I will. I'm not gonna do it though. Just letting you know out the gap, I'm not gonna do it. Okay? But, by the way, if you are so inclined, then you may go and look up a video, Black Men Need to Cut Their Hair or Stay at the Bottom. You'll see some things there, and you are quite welcome to go ahead and watch that video for yourself. I don't have any candles to keep around me, but yeah, you are quite welcome to go ahead and check it out for yourselves if you'd like to. Go right ahead. You can check that video out. Black men need to cut their hair, stay at the bottom. Okay. All right. All right. Y'all can go check that one out for yourselves. I ain't gonna make you do that one. I'm not gonna put you through that one. Go check it out for yourselves. I think you can smell the coonery on that. Go ahead. Yeah, some of y'all are like, what did I just see? All right. Some of y'all are like, what did I just see? Are they going to get mad at me? They're probably going to blame me now. They're probably going to blame me. That's the problem. They're probably going to sit here and say it's my fault. Okay, it's my fault. Now they're going to blame me for it. All right, then. Fine. Go ahead and blame me then. Just blame anybody. Blame anybody with what's going on. It's my fault about everything. Fine. All right. Fine. It's me. Fine. It's me. Go right ahead. Well, on top of everything else, though, there were some other questionable things that I saw and heard. And this one, of everything I heard so far, of all the anti-black things and all the questionable statements I've heard so far, this one, because this wasn't the first time he said this. He's actually made this kind of observation a couple of times before. So it wasn't the first time he said it. But it should be the first time and the only time you all need it said.
Show. So he can talk about what he's been writing about. And that man is 91. You got to take that knowledge, got to get that knowledge out before it's all go read Thomas Sowell. Black rednecks and white liberals. Go read it. And ultimately, what is it saying? Being able to be married, this and that. Shout out to Thomas Sowell. I would love to get him on this show. So he can talk about what he's been writing about. And that man is 91. You got to take that knowledge, got to get that knowledge out before it's all go read Thomas Sowell. Black rednecks and white liberals. Go read it. And ultimately, what is it saying? That the black folks know how to do this.
Now, the next part I'm about to say is no laughing matter. I have told you all for years that you got to watch these old niggas. And I've told you all this for years. And this is a quintessential example of why. Yeah, some of y'all in there, you've been trying to sit up here and play cognitive dissonance and pretend like you hadn't heard these things before. You've been trying to pretend like this was all right. You're not going to be able to hide from that one right there. Yeah, you're going to have to be a black member of the alt-right to go ahead and do that one right there. Thomas Sowell, Sean Hannity's best friend, Fox News' go-to Negro to talk about black folk, black rednecks, and white liberals. Now, for those of you who are a little bit younger, and you have to remember, for those of us in our 40s or older, we're very familiar with the Larry Elders and the Thomas Sowells and the Ward Connollys. We've been fighting with them niggas our whole lives, but some of these younger cats don't even know who that is. So they're like, we don't know why you would be upset about that. But for those of you who are unaware about that, Thomas Sowell basically is one of these old, reliable Negroes. He's one of these old, Rufus Negroes that Fox News and the right-wing media outlets, the Brookings Institute and Hoover Institute, and all these right-wing institutions like to go to. He's an economist, and he's one of their go-to black academics. And even though he's old as hell, they've been milking this nigga now for 40 plus years. They've been trotting him around for 40 plus years. Fair use, kitten heels, fair use. Try it if you'd like to, fair use. But by the way, they love trotting out Thomas Sowell because he is one of these white supremacist apologists. He's one of these white supremacist sympathizers, one of these white supremacist rationalizers. There's a reason that he keeps showing up on Fox News and has kept a paycheck from right-wing institutions for decades now. But understand, your man, your intellectual godfather there sat up here and told you all why you need to study him. Kind of explains why he's got this constant axe to grind against black women for just irrational reasons. Some of that stuff is clear, but then when you get on the phone with them and you're just angry and hostile with them, they haven't even said anything. It's hello, and it's angry and hostile with just every single one. Nothing they do is right. Well, take a look at Kitten Heels. Kitten Heels is your intellectual godfather. Well, guess who's his intellectual godfather? And the apple doesn't fall too far from the coonish tree when you think about it. But don't believe me, there are literally dozens and dozens of videos, hours upon hours, books upon books. Thomas Sowell has written literally, I think, over a dozen books or so. He's written tons of books. And so I could literally sit here all night playing audio from him and could never do it justice. I could sit here all night quoting him and never do it justice. But I found one thing in particular here, because really I don't want to just keep y'all here all night, but I've got one thing in particular I want you to listen to that I think encapsulates who Thomas Sowell is better than most clips you could find.
World that is already completely elaborated and complex before we ever got here. And so you make your decisions within that context. And if you don't think of it that way, you can have all sorts of utopian notions. To give one obvious example, I hear from time to time people complain, that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson condoned slavery. Slavery was there for centuries before George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were ever born. And neither of them thought that the office of the presidency had any power to do anything about it. Lincoln was able to do something about it because he did so not simply as president, but as the commander-in-chief in a war. And what he did applied only to people who were in rebellion against the United States. But there was no basis otherwise. And so if you can't think in terms of what were the things confronting the people who made decisions, nothing is easier than to sit there today and say, oh, this should have been done, that should have been done. And that's not taking the past as it was. It's treating the past as if it's just the present taking place in earlier times. And
that's Thomas Sowell. He's spent over 40 years saying things like that. That's Thomas Sowell. He spent 40 years saying things like that, 40 years apologizing for white supremacy, 40 years, I'm sorry, to be totally honest with you, over 40 years, actually. I can't say 40 years. He's been doing this for well over 40 years now. He's been doing this for well over 40 years. Nobody says the name Thomas Sowell and doesn't know who they're talking about. Nobody says his name and doesn't know. You're talking about one of these black white supremacist apologists. People, don't believe me. You can go to YouTube and you will find out. Go look up Thomas Sowell and systemic racism. All you're going to find is a bunch of returns. Thomas Sowell debunks systemic racism. Thomas Sowell debunks the lie of systemic racism. Thomas Sowell debunks discrimination. He goes on and on and on. I wanted to find something short because he really goes on and on describing about how it is that black people are not discriminated against. It's just, there's just historical conditions there, and slavery happened everywhere. And the lie is the idea that is somehow just particular to America. And, it's just stuff happening. About colonization, as a matter of fact. That's a real juicy one there. You know what? Why don't I go ahead and see if I can find that right quick. Thomas Sowell on colonization. I thought that was a very interesting one there. By the way, somebody needs to go ahead and ask Kitten Heels. I mean, if it matters to you there, if it matters to you, you might want to know about that, by the way. I just thought if it matters to you now, understand, I know there's some of y'all have been raised in Generation Coons, so you're just going to go ahead and along with anything that you are told. And I get it, but yeah, I get it. Okay, what I want to do here, he was talking, you can go look it up on YouTube, Thomas Sowell TV. This is what they don't teach you about colonization. And I want you to hear and see for yourselves what they said.
How do you handle those arguments? Well, in a frugal way in terms of lifestyles, but others would attribute the generation of poverty, the obverse of wealth, to colonialism, imperialism, exploitation, economic exploitation. How do you handle those arguments?
Well, insofar as those arguments are meant seriously, you can simply look at evidence. Insofar as they're purely political arguments, they're saying what people want to hear. Obviously, there are people who would much rather hear that than to hear the other, because if you think that's the problem, then there's not only a quicker solution, but there's a more emotionally and morally satisfying solution. Namely, you fight against the exploiters and so on. If you look at the third world, for example, those parts of the third world where the imperialist powers have come in have typically been the more advanced parts of it. They've been the most prosperous ones. Even if they weren't prosperous before they got there, they became the more prosperous parts. Those parts of the third world that the imperialists have never touched are, almost without exception, the very poorest places on this earth.
So
that's Kitten Heels' Intellectual Godfather. There it is. For those of you saying, well, Jason Black, what is the issue with Kevin Samuels? That's his Intellectual Godfather. When he's telling you we need to listen to Thomas Sowell, that's Thomas Sowell. For those of you who didn't know who Thomas Sowell was, he's one of these black alt-right, one of these black conservatives, one of these black Fox News people. He's been doing it longer than most of us have been alive. And everyone who knows the name Thomas Sowell knows this has been his hustle for over going on 5 decades now. And Kitten Heels is telling you young folk who don't know any better, yeah, you should go learn about him. You should go read him. I wish I could have him on my show. If the only reason I would want Thomas Sowell on my program is so I could kick the cane out from under his ass and let him hit the floor. That'd be the only reason I would want Thomas Sowell on my program. He ain't got a damn thing to teach me except everything not to be. That's the only thing Thomas Sowell could teach me at his old rickety cobweb covered age. And then we got young folk listening to Kitten Heels, and I understand a lot of you were disaffected. I understand a lot of you were abused by your single mama. I understand you lived under rough circumstances, and I understand that you are just desperate beyond desperate for anybody to articulate what it is you feel. And unfortunately, you didn't like it here because I put manhood on you and told you, yes, your mama was a slut, your mama was a hoe. These chicks out here are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but we got to build you up. And you don't want to hear that because you're not ready for manhood because you weren't prepared for it. So you find when I say to be hard, you just want to sit around and have a pitch and moan phone session like your mama would do. And I'm saying, no, you cannot do that. I don't want to have you sitting here venting about your problems. I want you to sit here and fix your problems. We're not here to get together and start cheerleading about what we don't like and make up slogans. What we need to do is have repair of the problems and permanent solutions. But for those of you who didn't know who Thomas Sowell is, that was Thomas Sowell. That was him. That's who he is. When you hear Kitten Heels sit up here and tell you that you need to be learning from this character, he's gone from having black hair to gray hair. And tell me, what part of that do you want to emulate? This was way before Abba and Preach, way before them. I've been on the case way before now. The rest of the world is just now catching up to it. Just now catching up to what I've been saying now for over a year. I guess better late than never. But it would have been nice if we could have stopped it from getting this far along. It would have been nice if we could have stopped it from getting this far along here. If you're just now joining us, welcome to The Business. And tonight we are reviewing some invoices. I don't just bring receipts, I bring invoices. I don't just tell you what you paid, I tell you what you owe. Whole bunch of folks getting their hearts broke tonight. Whole bunch of them getting their hearts broken here tonight. I tried to warn you. I'm not the one doing this to you. You did this to yourselves. Let's be very, very clear. I tried to warn you. I didn't do this to you. You did it to yourselves.
Being able to be married, this and that. Shout out to Thomas Sowell. I would love to get him on this show, so he could talk about what he's been writing about. And that man is 91. You got to take that knowledge. Got to get that knowledge out before it's all go read Thomas Sowell. Black rednecks and white liberals. Go read it. And ultimately, what is it saying? That
go read it, so you can learn to be a coon too.
Well, you don't find any explanation for poverty and colonialism. The reverse, perhaps.
Oh, absolutely. That when the Romans, for example, invaded the British Isles, they conquered the southern part of Britain, but they never conquered Scotland. And for centuries thereafter, perhaps for 1,000 years thereafter, Scotland was far behind England in economic and cultural development, because England had the advantage of tying into the whole Roman civilization, and everything that it had created, to some extent, percolated down through the British. That doesn't mean the British were happy with the Romans being there. 1,000 years later, Churchill could say, we owe London to Rome. But that's 1,000 years later, and Churchill didn't have to go through what those people went through. So I'm not saying this is good for the people who were there, but in the longer run, of course, England became what it was because the Romans came. And Scotland finally developed only after England conquered Scotland. And then the culture that developed in England then could spread into Scotland as well.
Folks, it seems nowadays folk will just follow behind anybody. They'll just follow behind anybody. Anybody. He's sitting here arguing for you that colonialization is a good thing. That they're talking about in context of Africa. And Thomas Sowell built his career arguing that, colonization is a good thing. Those of you who know Dr. John Henry Clark, he taught you that imperialism is never a good thing. Colonization has never been a good thing. Not Thomas Sowell. Y'all need to start asking yourselves questions here. Where do some of these folk here come from, spewing these Fox News talking points and packaging it in the wrapper of black relationships? We went from black relationships to Thomas Sowell. We went from black relationships to Thomas Sowell. Somebody needs to wake the hell up and understand what the hell they're hearing.
Does this suggest then that in addressing poverty in today's world, there ought to be a latter-day reincarnation of imperialism or colonialism in some form?
No, because I think politically it's impossible. I hear from various parts of some independent nations, they say that they were better off under colonialism and so on. That isn't in the cards. The people who are in the imperialist nations don't want to take on that.
But some would say that there is the functional equivalent of that in the operation of the multinational corporation today. Do you see that, the operation of the multinational corporation, as help or hindrance to the generation of wealth in developing countries?
Well, in those countries, the multinational corporations very often not only pay more money than the local industry pays, but it brings in skills that don't exist and creates industries that never were there before. So that.
Please understand, they're talking about Africa right now. They're talking about in context to Africa. And notice, he didn't say that colonization couldn't happen today because it's a bad thing. He's saying, I don't think you could politically get it through. He didn't say it's because it's a bad thing. I want you to understand, he didn't say it's because it's a bad thing. And by the way, when you take a look at them here, I couldn't help but notice, kind of seems like seeing some similarities there. I don't know. I guess if you keep listening to somebody long enough, start looking like them, I guess. Maybe you will. I don't know. And by the way, this was not Kevin's first time mentioning Thomas Sowell. And not the first black conservative that he's mentioned, supposed to be somebody that we're supposed to be all admiring and whatnot. Thomas Sowell ain't got a damn thing to teach any of us except how to be white folks bootlick. That's the only thing Thomas Sowell could teach any of us, is how to be better tools of servitude. I know a lot of you came here because of Abba and Preach, but I want you all to elevate beyond that. The internet has become a place where you have allowed cheap phonies, fakers, frauds to sit up here and sell you entertainment that you tell yourself is just entertaining, but a lot of you are ingesting it and taking it seriously. You need to admit that to yourselves. Confess that to yourself. You've been taking this seriously. You didn't gravitate to it because you wanted to be entertained. You gravitated to it because what everybody keeps talking about, well, this speaks about their lives to them. Well, you're right. In many regards, it probably does here, but you have been misled. You've had individuals who do not have your best interests at heart, have never had your best interests at heart, sitting up here telling you that they understand what's going on with you. I'm just the guy trying to tell you that is not the way that you want to go with this. That is not the way you want to go. This is the wrong way to do that. This is the wrong way to do that. There's no way in the world that this ends well for you. No way in the world this ends well. For those of you who are just now joining us, I'm going to review again some of the sound clips that we've been showing here tonight. We're busting bubbles, we're breaking hearts, we're chopping heads. I know a lot of you are going to be upset and mad because you don't have very many people in your life that you can look up to and whatnot, and you just fabricated the worst examples you could have found, and now you feel kind of self-conscious and silly. It's like, damn, I got bamboozled and couldn't see it. Feel bad about that, but the only thing that should make you feel stupid now is if you keep following it. If you keep following it, now that makes you, you weren't just fooled before, now you're a bad person. But let's go ahead and review a couple of things here. First, we're going to go ahead and start with Fresh and Misfit. And for any of you clowns out there still talking about you're going to cape for them and that's okay right there, but ain't no problem. These are the comments I want you to defend. Don't come here running your mouths. Just go ahead and get to defending this.
Because he's lagging a bit, the sound. Sorry, man, your connection's bad, but we were able to hear what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, but he said it was an extension of what?
So
the sisterhood.
Yeah.
Like they see those guys as part of sort of Team Woman.
I was gonna say this. So yes, I agree 100%. Because there's a reason why like feminism aligns itself with like affirmative action, African Americans, minorities in general. The reason why, guys, is because if the water raises for feminism, it raises for everybody else. But if it raises for minorities, it also raises for them. So basically, I'll tell you guys the truth. Uncomfortable truth nobody wants to hear. The common enemy is the white man. That's what everyone is trying to say. Oh, they have all the privileges. You're white privilege. You're white man. If you're a white male, heterosexual, WASP, you are a public enemy number one in the United States nowadays. I'm saying this as a colored guy. It's tough out here for them. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna attack them. Right? This is exactly what Hitler did. Hey, let's find a common enemy. We unite against them, and then bang, say that we're being, what's the word? Like we're in a position of they have all the power. Mm-hmm. We're not in a position of power. Let's unite and take them down. Yeah. We're oppressed, right? Mm-hmm. So white men are the common enemy. And then feminism, minorities, transgenders, etc. They just unite together because they know that if they all work together, they'll be able to take down the alleged evil white male. But I'm here to tell you guys that I think affirmative action a lot of time is BS. You should be hired on your merit, not on the color of your skin or what's in between your pants. That's some bullshit.
That's because the reason you think that is because you're approaching this from a masculine understanding of what respect is.
Yeah.
Right.
And immediately got pat on the head from white daddy. Immediately got pat on the head from white daddy. Hey, all you fresh and misfit flunkies and fanboys, all you fresh and fit F boys out there, by the way, this your man. You got to hold this L because you're a punk too. You's a punk too. If you were ever defending this, and you needed me to say this, by the way, they ain't just the coons and clowns, so are you. You got to hold this L also. Because, by the way, this video here is Rollo Tomasi Returns, March 1st, 2021. This stuff has been out there. So you already heard this. And before now, it was like, well, if nobody knows about it, I'll just pretend. Or you were just going on, well, maybe they right there. Maybe the white guys do got it kind of rough, though, man. They do got it kind of rough. A lot of you was cooning before now, too. But by the way, you can go to their channel, March 1st, 2021. Rollo Tomasi Returns, Timcast IRL. By the way, there's another character there, Tim Pool. Joe Rogan's buddy. Tim Pool, another one of them alt-right dudes. Shouldn't have required Abba and Preach to get us this far into this, but I guess better late than never. I guess it's better late than never. Where they fanboys at? Everybody done got real quiet for them. Y'all ain't gonna come and defend your man? What's going on, man? Y'all gonna just leave him hanging like that? You don't want to defend this epic wisdom like this?
You know what? I'm gonna say an unpopular thing. I've said it before. I'm gonna say it again. You want to know who's really being prejudiced against? White men.
Yeah.
Let's keep it a stack, man. Affirmative action, all these things we have in place.
Most hated.
It's overcorrected to the point where we are literally ostracizing white men, man. We want to hire colored people. We want to hire women. We want to, if you're a colored woman, you're going to be, there's a higher probability that you're going to get hired for a job, you know what I'm saying, over a white male. We've done all this pretty much to mitigate white male influence. I get it. Oh, they had all the power, so now we got to correct for it. All right, cool. We've overcorrected now. Nowadays, we live in a world where we got Caucasian men running around saying, I'm sorry for what happened to you 500 years ago, as if they had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We're trying to punish them and shame them or whatever. And it's completely okay to treat Caucasian men like shit in today's day and age.
It is. And
I'm going to speak for them. Fuck it, because they can't even say, if they say, they're going to be like, you're white privilege, all this extra bullshit. It's like,
let's look at
where your fanboys at? They need to come here tonight. Where the fanboys at? We ready for you. Y'all need to come stand by your man real quick. You done left him hanging. Where you at? The fresh and misfit dudes. Where you at? Why I gotta say this? Y'all need to come stand by your man over here is what you need to do. Don't leave him hanging like that. Need to come stand by your man. That's really kind of foul. You're gonna just leave him hanging like that. You need to come stand by your dude. Y'all just gonna leave him out here hanging like that, like a broke toe? What's going on? Where do you people come from, man? Where do y'all come from? This ain't right. You know it. You know this isn't right. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without, of course, reviewing Kitten Heels, who wants to teach black men all kinds of lessons, like be like Thomas Sowell.
Being able to be married, this and that. Shout out to Thomas Sowell. I would love to get him on this show, so he can talk about what he's been writing about. And that man is 91. We got to take that knowledge, got to get that knowledge out before it's all go read Thomas Sowell. Black rednecks and white liberals. Go read it. And ultimately, what is it saying? That the black folks know how to do this, but
well, of course, the epic wisdom of Thomas Sowell, of course, is what we should be relying on, right?
Which is more than just the sum of the topics. And in the first chapter, I point out that economics really, I elaborate on a definition from London School of Economics, that economics is the study of scarce resources which have alternative uses. In other words, there was no economics in the Garden of Eden. because everything was available in unlimited quantities. But I think in thinking generally, whether in economics or otherwise, too many people do not begin by saying, what are the inherent constraints of the situation we're talking about? And they act as if, they're God on the first day of creation and can follow whatever policy seems to them best. But by the time when each of us enters a world that is already completely elaborated and complex before we ever got here. And so you make your decisions within that context. And if you don't think of it that way, you can have all sorts of utopian notions. To give one obvious example, I hear from time to time people complain, that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson condoned slavery. Slavery was there for centuries before George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were ever born. And neither of them thought that the office of the presidency had any powers to do anything about it. Lincoln was able to do something about it because he did so not simply as president, but as the commander-in-chief in a war. And what he did applied only to people who were in rebellion against the United States. But there was no basis otherwise. And so if you can't think in terms of what were the things confronting the people who made decisions, nothing is easier than to sit there today and say, oh, this should have been done, that should have been done. And that's not taking the past as it was. It's treating the past as if it's just the present taking place in earlier times. And that is not the case.
When
imperialism, exploitation, economic exploitation, how do you handle those arguments?
Well, insofar as those arguments are meant seriously, you can simply look at evidence. Insofar as they're purely political arguments, they're saying what people want to hear. Obviously, there are people who would much rather hear that than to hear the other, because if you think that's the problem, then there's not only a quicker solution, but there's a more emotionally and morally satisfying solution. Namely, you fight against the exploiters and so on. If you look at the third world, for example, those parts of the third world where the imperialist powers have come in have typically been the more advanced parts of it. They've been the most prosperous ones. Even if they weren't prosperous before they got there, they became the more prosperous parts. Those parts of the third world that the imperialists have never touched are, almost without exception, the very poorest places on this earth.
So you don't find any explanation for poverty and colonialism? The reverse, perhaps?
Oh, absolutely. That when the Romans, for example, invaded the British Isles, they conquered the southern part of Britain, but they never conquered Scotland. And for centuries thereafter.
Well, I guess he's making the point that was very unfortunate for them that they were unable to conquer Scotland. Everybody now is talking about the black manosphere and are actually leveling criticism at this late date. For those of you who've been with me, you understood that I peeped it from day one. I talked about how the black manosphere was essentially just a black flip copy of the alt-right red pill community, and that they would be the bootlicks and the flunkies, and that's exactly what they have been. But even worse, they've been trying to smuggle in these alt-right philosophies, these alt-right tendencies. They've been smuggling in these alt-right philosophies and tendencies, these alt-right code words. They've been doing this now in an internet age. And no wonder YouTube has been promoting them so heavily, because we know what they're built on. And I'm just reporting the news. That's all. If it breaks your heart, if it hurts your feelings, so damn what. Not here to make you feel better about that. By the way, anybody still want me to play the clips? By the way, anybody still want it? No, I don't think you really want it, but if you still want it, we're ready for ya. They didn't interrupt my stream tonight. By the way, though, you still want me to play them clips for you? if you like for me to. I don't hear anybody. I'm looking, I'm trying to read. I don't see anybody daring me to play any clips now. I don't see anybody daring me to do that. Maybe I ain't saying it loud enough. Maybe I'm not giving them enough to go off of here. Maybe we'll see if we can try a little bit harder. So the telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933, your personal access code to the program that laid the foundation upon which all of these red pill, MGTOW, boot-licking, winosphere, Nimrod, high-value posers, and at this point now, buck dancing coonouts, have stolen and ripped off everything. By the way, speaking of ripped off, I invite you all, while you're YouTube and everything else, as I said before, y'all need to learn how to use YouTube search or Google or whatever. By the way, speaking of ripping things off, you can go to YouTube and type in Tony Soprano, Christopher, average at best. By the way, Kitten Heels is a big fan of The Sopranos, and while he in between ripping stuff off from me for years now, by the way, if you're really wanting education about that, he kind of owes HBO some publishing and owes them some residuals. By the way, you can go Google that for yourself. Tony Soprano, when he talked to Christopher, when he told him you're average at best. And the context of the conversation, yeah, I know some of you gonna be real upset. You gonna be like, damn, Jason, you ruining all my little fantasies. Yeah, I'm here to step all over them, by the way. But if you really want an education on that, go check that out. And I think you're going to find out, damn, that's the context in which that conversation happened. It's like, yeah, this guy isn't smart enough to come up with a phrase like that on his own. Yeah, he got that from some writers a lot smarter than himself. But by the way, if you want to go check that one out, you go check that one out. Tony Soprano, when he talked to Christopher about his girlfriend, Adrian, I think her name was, he told Christopher, you average at best. Go watch that scene in its context. I don't know if that was season 5, I think it was, or whatever, but go watch that one in its context. You'll be like, wow. Oh, man. Yeah, he didn't just start stealing from me. He's been stealing from everybody for a while. I'm sorry, am I saying too much? Let me guess. His flunkies and his little boy groupies are going to say that's hating, right? So stating a fact is hating now. That's going to be hating, right? He's still running around. Even after I corrected him about those phony CDC statistics and told him you need to go check the correct ones, or you Google it for 2021 about the average weight of the average man and woman in America today, dude, there isn't a big difference between the two. The men have gained as much weight as the women have. Oh, I'm sorry. Facts are hating, right? All right. Well, in the meantime, the telephone line is now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. I know a bunch of folks here has done hurt you. It's done broke your heart. You're feeling some kind of way. You feel like somebody just beat your daddy up. I understand. It's going to be rough on you. It's some body blows you done took in there. I know it's some body blows you done took. Some of you fresh and misfit butt kissing dudes, now you feel some kind of way. I understand, but just I'm here to bring comfort to the afflicted and affliction to the comfortable. That's what I'm here to do. Though that's my job title. Those are my job duties. But the telephone lines are now open. If any of you who are still fresh, if you're still a fresh and fit fanboy, call us up and defend what you just heard. Give us the reasonable explanation for what you just heard. If you're still a kitten heels butt kisser, call us up and give us an explanation. To dude last night talking about play the clips, by the way, he ran off after that. Now all of a sudden he doesn't want us playing clips anymore. He doesn't want us playing clips anymore now. They were all asking for the clips last night. I started playing them last night. Now all of a sudden they don't want me to play clips anymore. They're talking about, Jason, you played too rough. I thought y'all wanted me to play clips. I got clips for you. I got clips like a AK-47. I thought you wanted clips. I got clips for you, but now you're sitting up here running. That ain't cool. Come on and come and get these clips you said you wanted. Now they saying they don't want them. They're like, damn, Jason, I hate you. You killed Christmas. Just can't please some people. Let's go ahead and crank up these phone lines. Let me get called from area code 443. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from 443 is at the Blues Bar. Caller from area code 703, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, it's Mike from Alexandria, Virginia, by way of Norfolk.
Mike from Alexandria, what's on your mind?
So, I can admit that I was like the stereotypical, typical person that you were describing that started listening to Kevin. So when I first started listening to him, I had never heard of any of your channel, anything. So like you said, some of the things, being a black male, dealing with women, it had resonated with me. But I started to see that it's just repetitive. And like you say, it doesn't offer any type of solution. It's just the same old repeating, and it got tired. And then I stumbled across your channel, and I saw, the timestamps, and I've been watching The Business and The Black Authority nonstop since. I don't watch that dude. I've never been hip to who this Thomas Sowell guy is, but I do remember when you started. I do remember I watched that episode of Fresh and Fit because at my job, I've never been a diehard fan of theirs, but I would just watch it because I believed in that manosphere crap. It's all BS. But
well, how old are you?
I remember watching that exact. I'm 26.
And there's the thing that really bothers me, because in this day and age, you young cats, y'all assume, as all young people do, as all young people should be able to, you all assume that dudes who are older than you, that number one, they should know some things you don't. Number two, they should have your best interest at heart. And that's a natural thing. And that's the way it should be. Unfortunately, dude, most of these old dudes, they don't know nothing. They just getting their money together for the first time in their lives. And they are willing to sell you young fellas out at a heartbeat. And that's what I have a problem with. They're willing to sell you down the river. They are jaded. They are disaffected. They are, they're disillusioned. And they've got all kinds of ulterior motives. And when I come along and point out, hey, this is the Fox News Thomas Sowell crowd in drag. This is them camouflaged, lightly camouflaged. And then folks want to say, well, they have such an issue with their moms that they're willing to ignore these other things. Okay, and it's all fun and games until the police get behind you. And then Kitten Heels is going to be asking you, well, what did you do to get shot? That's when he's going to be saying to you as young men. And there's the problem that I have. So very glad you found us here, and welcome to the dark side. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 402. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Jason, this is James from Chicago, and I totally disagree with your assessment on Kevin Samuels. I really do. You're definitely wrong.
Okay. Which part of the clip you heard did you agree with?
Well, I mean, he said that, but
okay. Let's try this again. Which part of that clip did you agree with?
I agree with the fact that black people should stop playing victim. That's one of the main reasons why we are still at the bottom. We always play the victim. And in order for us to progress, we need to stop playing victims. I mean, you're a smart man. We have to stop complaining and blaming white people for all of our problems. So
you believe the problem is that black people, quote, play victim. You do not believe that black people, you don't believe the obvious evidence that black people are in a system of white supremacy. You don't believe we're in a system of white supremacy.
We are.
Okay, so you don't believe that, and you don't believe that the white supremacists have power over us and are using it to abuse us and mishandle us.
Yes, I do believe that. However,
Okay, I believe that. However, I can't wait to see this. However, what?
However, in order for us to progress, we have to go ahead and take. You always said it yourself. Power is not. You cannot ask people to just give up their power. You got to take it. And
okay, but you can't pretend that you're not victimized if you are, sir. You can't if you're flat on your back on the ground, you can't claim that you're standing up walking around. You have to first acknowledge, hey, I'm flat on my back on the ground. Then you have to say, why am I flat on my back on the ground? Well, white supremacy. According to you, those are not factors.
Okay. But back to your criticism of Kevin Samuels. I mean, basically, I believe you're good friends with Dr. Boyce Watkins and Tariq Nasheed. They, at some point in their careers, they went ahead and spewed some points from Ann Coulter, Candace Owens. So they're talking points that, I mean...
My man Kim Strumental. Look at the Coons. Available on Amazon. Look, that is the level of intellect you have to have. If you are a supporter of Kitten Heels and the manosphere, that's who you have to be. You have to be one of these black conservatives claiming that white supremacy doesn't exist, race and black folk are the cause of their own problems, and if we would just pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. So he was a perfect representative of their audience. That's why I let him talk. Go ahead and talk, bro. Go ahead and talk. I just need to put your theme song on for you, but go ahead and talk, man. Look, hey, that's the level of, this is that group over there. There is a contingent, there's a whole faction of black society that has just completely surrendered and given up. And well, if we just put our hands up right here, it's our own fight. Ain't no racism holding us back now. It's just us. And these are young fellas being indoctrinated into cooning at a young age. Caller from area code 314, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Charles from St. Louis.
Charles from St. Louis, what's on your mind?
I've never heard of Kevin Samuels, Kitten Heels, until a couple years back, and I believe in actually researching and understanding. People talking about someone, you should listen to them. So I listened to one video of his, and I instantly knew, oh, this dude doesn't really like women very much. So, and then I started noticing that other white YouTubers was bigging him up, saying hey, I like listening to Kevin Samuels. And I thought it was weird. Why does these white boys like him? And then I realized, oh, he just attacking black women. And that's sort of what the white YouTubers like to listen to, is they live vicariously through Kevin Samuels. They can't say the things that Kevin Samuels say to black women, if you understand what I mean.
Well, they understand. This is why, the mentioning of Thomas Sowell by him was just so ironic, because they are always on the lookout for individuals that they can use. They're always looking for the next Thomas Sowell. They're looking for somebody else who can smuggle in these philosophies. They're looking for the next one. They're always looking for the next one. So just understand, it's never going to stop. They're always trolling to see who can we find who can pick this up. They need a black front person to come smuggle these things in bit by bit. So what they do is they say something you really agree with, that, it's time for black women to take some criticism because they've been devoid of it. Okay, there's something we can agree on. And then here comes Thomas Sowell. So that's the part you agree with, because you understand that is the usual strategy of white supremacy. You take a little bit of truth and then use that as the wrapper for this big piece of lying candy, as it were. That's what you're going to do there. So we'll take one small part of it here, and then, okay, here comes Thomas Sowell, and here comes Clarence Thomas, and here comes Larry Elder. Next thing you know, you're being told to be able to deal with those things. And if y'all would just listen to Thomas Sowell, you'd be able to deal with these women's battles. And there you go. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 412. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Franklin out of Pittsburgh.
Okay, take your phone off of speaker. You have 3 seconds.
Hold on, I'm on speaker. Can you hear me?
Take your phone
I'm
off.
on speaker, guy.
Okay, that is a horrible thing. Are you on a headset or something?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, we're all going to pass the plate here and see if we can get that iPhone 4 upgraded for you. What is your name? Where are you calling from?
See, this is Franklin out of Pittsburgh.
Frank out of Pittsburgh. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. You say that these guys are going alt-right?
Okay, sir. Hurry up and get to your point. We are a bunch of folk on the line. We're not here to play patty cakes with anybody. I'm not here to sit up here and be inquisitioned. Sir, what is your point? Can you hurry up and get to it? All right, he was too late. Let's get a caller from area code 434. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Parker calling from Charlottesville.
Okay, why are these people calling me tonight on these 1981 AT&T brick phones? What is going on?
I don't know what's wrong with the phone. I'm going to get this over with really quickly. First of all, about that guy who called a couple of calls back, that coon that you were playing the song for. Yeah, that guy he's an idiot. But I guess my 2 questions, and I'll make this concise. What do we do about like people who are bigging like kitten heels? Like, because I know Tariq Nasheed was digging him for a second there in some of his videos, and he hasn't, disavowed kitten heels yet. And I guess my second is, when is he going to be, like, when are people going to disown him already? Like,
well, my job is to make sure that I inform as many people as I can. What they do with it from there, I don't have control of the population, but everybody will be able to make an informed decision. They're probably, like I say, there's a lot of folks that either they didn't know or they're not sure how deep it's going and whatnot. My job is to make sure everybody is properly informed. And from there, they're making an informed decision. What each of you do with it after that is up to you. But nobody can say they didn't know, they weren't sure. Ooh, that was some information I didn't have. And from there, you just understand what they're doing. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Everybody, my job is to make sure that everybody is properly informed. After that, you can make up your minds about them. Caller from area code 843. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
TVA to Tobias out of Phoenix.
Tobias out of Phoenix. Well, brother, they said I'm doing damage. They said I'm messing up what their fantasies they were having. They said that I'm bringing them down. I'm bringing a brother down. Tobias, what do you say, bro? Am I in the wrong?
Man, hey, you own it, man, because I haven't heard of some of these people till like I clicked on a Kevin Samuels video and I see these O'Shea Duke Jackson, who's always drawing Kevin Samuels' jock, or these fresh and fit guys. And from then what I see, I haven't seen cooning this bad in a long time. These guys said white men are oppressed, even though they wrote the oppressive legislation towards black people. They're the ones. They still make more money by a wide margin than black men and black women combined. And oh yes, their white women are the highest beneficiaries of affirmative action. And guess whose bed she's sleeping in? His, that he provided for. But those guys are all about their interracial from a couple of things I saw. Kevin Samuels does not say a black man should only be with a black woman, vice versa, I build a black family. I think, if I remember correctly, I think one of his ex-wives was black. So, why? And the one thing I don't like about him, how come he don't let the fellas call him? He don't take calls from men. He don't take it from women. And like all he does is browbeat women. And like I understand some may need it, but it seems like every time he does that, and I just think that these guys, look at how they bound down to those white men on these black conservatives. Like, I never heard of Roll Tomas until he started bringing them up a while back.
Well, because I realized then what was fueling this, because I'm watching to see, are you men leading or are you following? That's the thing I'm checking out. I'm peeping that. I'm like, okay, I hear what you're saying, but I'm really trying to figure out, are you leading or are you following? You see, when you got a cat like Rizza Islam, for example, Rizza isn't following anybody except Farrakhan. But otherwise, he's leading on that. He's not following anything here. And I'm checking to see, okay, who you cats are y'all coming up with these ideas yourselves, or are you regurgitating something that you've learned from a segment that the rest of us would not approve of? And that's what I was seeing happening there. So that's what I was watching from the very beginning. Are they actually leading and coming up with these philosophies, or are they repackaging something from a segment that they know the rest of us would not approve of? And when you start digging below the surface, I started seeing this. So it's my conjecture that Abba and Preaching Friends, they realize that something ain't right here. And they kind of played the game at first and talked to him at first. And then it's like after they took their temperature and it's like, okay, we done got our use out of you. Then they turned around later and was like, hey, y'all, let me just let y'all know these two is clowns. And that's basically what you saw go down there. So that's the kind of thing I was watching. But when I saw that they were all just basically they're all disciples and after school students of Rollo Tomasi, then I was like, okay, it's only going to be a matter of time before they all bow to White Daddy. And that's exactly what they all did, thus resulting in the sound clips you heard tonight.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But one thing that hit me, all they do is complain about women. They complain about black women, blah, blah, blah. But I believe men should make themselves where they are worthy of making complaints. What have they shown to make themselves worthy of airing any grievances? Besides just saying they like non-black women. That's how I've always been. They don't do that. Nor do I Kevin Samuels say all these women that calling on his show. They may have kids, they may be young. He just said, hey, get married when you're young, don't wait till you get old. Nothing about the type of man that you shouldn't be wasting your time with at a young age. Nothing about that. What a man should be doing, providing, protecting, making sure your life is better. He's going to work every day. Not doing that. It's just like, hey, you got pregnant, your life's over, you're 35, you're at the danger zone, whatever he be saying. And I just think that it ain't okay, you messed up, you made a bad choice. This is how you can make the lemonade out of the lemons, or the chicken salad out of chicken crap. They don't do that. They just browbeat. And I just think, how is that uplifting? How is that empowering? Because, hey, the choice is made. The toothpaste is out of the tube. What now? And what can you pass on so that they kids don't make those same bad choices? I just don't see those guys don't be doing that.
Well, now you've basically got a generation of folk here, brother, where they're not checking anything. You have a bunch of dudes who are venting as bad as the girls. Hell, worse than the girls, actually. They're venting worse than the girls are. They're just sitting around and venting, and that is it. And the reason why it just tends to be this eternal, perpetual, circle of failure amongst them is because nobody actually knows how to fix these fellas. They don't know what to do with them. Now, you know me. You've been one of my people, been with me for years and years. You see, I sit down and tell these fellas, hey, here's how you can turn $1 into $2. Here's how you can gain power, wealth, and influence for yourself. These fellas here, they'll sit up here and tell you the women ain't right, but can't tell the fellas how to get into a position to be able to influence the women. It's just, well, if you there and whatnot, and that's it. And then the worst part is, now this is something you're familiar with because you're about the same age as me, so you understand. Bruh, it used to be you had to be real, man. It used to be you had to be real. Now niggas can just sit up here, call themselves high value, ain't got two pennies to rub together. No, and everybody's just gonna give them everybody's just gonna sit there and play along with them. It used to be you didn't do that, and you damn sure didn't give money for it. This is what they do today now. Now they just go along with it. Now they just go along with it and everybody plays along. And in the process, a whole bunch of folk are getting misled. A whole bunch of people are being misinformed. A whole generation is starting to get miseducated now. They're hearing terms totally taken out of context. They are being screwed up. And at the end of the day, they're all going to be turned into softcore coons, which is what will be required of them. You got Fresh and Misfit, the immigrants over here on the left, telling you that you don't need to date black women. Meanwhile, I guess you can go ahead and pay white women for their professional services. And I want you all to think about that for just a few moments. Think about that for just a few moments here, Tobias. Think about this. So they're telling, these guys are openly out here advocating that you can pay women for their professional intimate services, shall we say. You can pay escorts, but you shouldn't be dealing with black women. So what they're saying is you should spend money only on white women. Think about that for just a few moments. That's literally what they're telling you.
You know, I was thinking about when you was talking about that, is that, think about it. They're putting money in white women's pockets. They're upgrading white women, but don't want to upgrade black women. And those are the guys. And like I said, I'm 42, around the same age. When we was younger, we didn't really, I don't know about you, I didn't hear that many black men complain about paying for dinner, a simple dinner. Now these dudes, all they do is complain about paying for dinner, how they get sex by sitting some lines and not having to do anything. Yeah, you may get the sex, but guess what she's going to do? If she's fine enough, her body's right, she ain't got a bunch of kids, she's going to drop their asses for the guy who's doing something, who may not be as buff, who may not be like the silver tongue guy, but he's doing something. He's upgrading her life. And once she gets a taste of that and she's smart, that's where she's going to go. Because a woman can get sex anywhere. It ain't about your mouthpiece. If she just wants to have sex with you, she wants to have sex with you. And it seems like all they trying to do that. And I remember this. I'll share this real quick. Buddy of mine, his wife, brother married to a black woman. They had this Peppa Pig show out there where he's from in Philly. He and his wife and daughter were the only black family sitting in the VIP lower level. Bunch of black men with non-black women sitting there lower level. But the black couple sitting on upper deck. And I'm thinking to myself, what happened to all these black men who didn't want to upgrade a black woman, provide a black woman a great experience? Like having like a luxury, like even though it's better seats, it's a better experience. And like these guys don't want to do that, but in turn want to upgrade the experience for women who already have, white women who have access to that anyway.
You know, I've just never been one for fantasizing. I've never been one for make-believe. And I don't gravitate to circles and areas where people sit around make-believing. That's never been my thing. I've never been okay with it. I've always wanted to have the real thing. And this era that we're in today with these young folk out here and whatnot, and these dudes on the internet enabling it, you know, I mean, Tekashi 6ix9ine is really a symptom of a bigger problem. A big ass fake world of people who don't know what they're talking about. If you ever call them out to stand on what they said and whatnot, it's not going to happen. They're constantly sitting around pretending about things. If anybody ever did run up on them, the first thing they're going to do is sit up here and back up. It's a world of lames, and the problem is there's so many of them. There's so many of them now. They've actually formed their own ecosystem. That's the crazy part. There's so many lames out there today. They form their own ecosystem, and they don't really check anything. As long as you identify with their whining, they're willing to go along with you. I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah. Hey, say thanks for taking my call. And one thing is, someone online added me. They make Facebook groups about Kevin Samuels fan club, and someone added me to one. And so I see what they talking about. And I can tell there's a bunch of black males just complaining, whining, uplifting white, non-black women, white women. And I was just like, hey, all you fellas talking bad about how you bad non-black women you got, take a picture of you want right now and post it. Right now with you with that bad non-black woman. There was 2 weeks in there and nobody posted anything. And you got to be honest about it. They do all this fantasizing. They ain't with the hot non-black women. The ones that are hot non-black women are your athletes and entertainers because they access to that money. If they mess with you, they will leave you for the first white man with money that comes their way. And they know that if you uplifted them, trash your own, they have no respect for you that way. And that's the thing that they don't see and they refuse to see. They can't show any wins. They cannot show who the lives they change. They're not about changing lives. They're about being shock jocks.
That's what it comes down to.
But
it really comes down to, by the way, what good does it do for you to supposedly be in a circle of dudes who claim to be high value and none of them were ever able to elevate your value? None of them could even give you the first clue. At that point right now, at that point right there, you supposed to be like, damn, these niggas is running a church hustle. They might as well be Creflo Dollar up in here telling you how great things could be if you could do X, Y, Z, but they can't teach you how to do it. Oh, wait a minute. They can't teach what they don't know. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, Tobias. Let me get a call from area code 860. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is Noah out of Tampa by way of Hartford, Connecticut.
Noah out of Tampa. What's on your mind?
So about a year ago, I started watching Kevin Samuels and other people in the manosphere, and they were talking shit like get in the gym and other things that were uplifting. But as I kept watching, then they just started cooning. And after that, I'm glad I found your channel because it just got really misleading from there.
Well, my biggest thing about it here is I didn't like the company. When I hear somebody build an entire YouTube channel lifted off of the philosophies, when I'm getting folk literally writing me 3 and 4 times a day, folk tell me, hey, Jason, have you heard of this person here and whatnot? And I don't like people emailing me to begin with. But when it gets to people I know saying, and I'm like, okay, let me go check that out. And literally an entire channel built on my philosophies. And then here I hear the name Thomas Sowell. So you're going to take what I've built, you're going to take what I've created, the unified ideology that I mapped out because it's legit and it works. And then you're going to mix Thomas Sowell into it. You're going to mix Larry Elder into it. You're going to mix Coons into it and whatnot. No, I'm not going to sit back and allow that to occur. You're going to bring Rollo Tomasi into it. No, I'm not going to allow that to occur. Donovan Dole. No, I am not going to allow that to occur. I'm not going to have you sit up here and take it from a black first, black empowerment perspective and then twist it and mutate it into something that can't be used. And then, of course, there is the practical part of it. We need people who can help transform ordinary black people into high value black people, as it were, particularly where the men are concerned.
Right.
I don't want to see anybody posing and playing at this. You can sit up here and play dress up doll on the internet and pretend that you are a national sales manager of KFC or whatever. But if that's not really who you are, and it isn't, then you're giving out bad information. Because these fellas are going to come to you and ask the next logical question, which is, well, damn, if you're the expert on high value, how can I become high value? Oops, I don't know. At that point, I need other people to be honest enough with themselves and say, you know what? Let me discard this. If this ain't the real thing, let me discard it. But brother, it gets difficult because then they come over here and I start telling them what needs to be done. And, it's just like Thomas Edison said, most people never they never achieve success because it usually comes dressed up looking like hard work. That's the problem.
Yep.
So they come over here and I tell them you're going to put in some hard work to get this done, but you will be able to increase your value from there. And they were doing that. I'd rather just sit on the internet and listen to other dudes pitch and moan, and I can pretend I've got a value I don't. So this is going to be an acquired taste for some. It's not going to be for everybody. But what I will say is a lot of dudes are going to waste a lot of years forming these circles of comfort where they all, these mutual admiration societies of failures, where they sit around comforting each other in their failure rather than demanding excellence and performance of each other. And nobody even knows how to begin the conversation over there. That's the killing part. Okay, go to the gym. That's great. But at the end of the day, if you can't tell these young fellas how to turn $1 into $2, then all of this is meaningless.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, it also is bad when they mix some of our leaders, like they name drop Tariq Nasheed and Dr. Umar Johnson and even Sister Shahrazad Ali as people that we should be looking to for advice, and then they mix in, you know, Anthony Bryan Logan and, you know, the Thomas Sowells of the world.
It's a trick bag, man. They're smuggling in what you and I know as Fox News. This is a Fox News strategy taken to an internet level. To be very unsuspecting. A Fox News strategy at an internet level. This is dastardly. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 917. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Tony Breeze from Brooklyn, New York.
Tony from Brooklyn, what's on your mind?
When did the lies end? When did the truth begin? That's what I want to ask everybody. When did the lies end? When did the truth begin? Jason has showed us these people are false. Why do we keep caping for these people? They're all capped. They have no interest in helping us. They're our enemies. Stop listening to them. Delete them. If we delete all the enemies in our circle, no one from the outside can harm us. That's all I got to say, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Please do give us a call again so I can give you a few dollars for that 9-volt battery. Let me get a call from area code 614. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is Justin out of D.C.
Justin out of D.C. What's on your mind?
Now, I remember, quite frankly, when I was taking my business classes in undergrad, I did hear my professor mention a few clips from Thomas Sowell. And this is around the time Hidden Colors 4 came out. And I just casually listened to it, and I was just like, this just sounds a little bland, and, you know, I'll do my extra credit, but no, I don't really like dude. You know, I got something else I'm following with Dr. Claude Anderson over here. So, yeah, it just sounds, you know, real bland. And I just remember Turning Point. They were funding some characters just to help the alt-right get some, you know, non-white support. And this sounds like right up their alley. But my question was, do you see this as a way for them to, you know, pay for some dissent among black people here in America?
Oh, absolutely. This is what I was saying before, brother. They're always looking for the next Thomas Sowell. They're always looking for the next tool that they can implement and utilize to be able to disseminate their message and disseminate the strategy. There's a reason why YouTube, with all these crazy things these guys have been saying, there's a reason that YouTube hasn't suppressed them. YouTube has boosted them at every single turn. You saw them blow up in record time. Well, hell yeah, the machine is behind that because that's what the machine always does. Just like it boosted Joe Rogan, just like it boosted Tim Pool. I mean, this is it. The machine boosts the useful tools. And there's the reason why you can pull out clip after clip, philosophy after philosophy. That's exactly what they're doing, brother. I mean, white supremacy puts money and muscle behind its agenda. They put investment behind it. They don't play around. They're like, hey, if you're going to stop these black empowering people and confuse things and sow a bunch of confusion, as Neely Fuller said, you need major backing. At the very least, get them as far down the road as we can. Even if we know eventually they're going to get knocked off, get them as far down the road as they can. Boost them as high as you can. Signal boost them as high as you can, as much as you can, before they get knocked off. Because a little confusion is better than none at all. That's literally what it is. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me go ahead and get caller from area code 561. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, it's Gilly from Florida.
Yes, Gilly, you had something you wanted to tell us?
I don't really know why.
Actually,
you
do know why. Yeah, you do. And by the way, this is the level of cowardice that these folks have here. Just understand, they're all the same. They are all the same. None of them are grown men. None of them have a backbone. None of them have any integrity. None of them have any scruples. And none of them have. This is why these niggas talk mess on the internet. And then next thing you know, let me run the gun stove over here. Dude, stand by your words. Be a grown ass man.
Okay.
For the first time in your life, take off your huggies, take off your put on your underoos, and be a grown man for once. Stand by your words. It's just that simple. Stand by your words, dude. I know manhood is a new concept to you, but stand by your words.
Yeah, I came on here to get this. Yes, of course. But can I ask you a question?
No, sir. No, sir. What you can do is stand by your words. You were the one who sat up here and posted in the chat room, and now you're trying to play dumb like you don't know what you said.
Well, I came on here because yesterday,
sir, what did you say in the chat room tonight, sir? Why are you not standing by your words tonight? What kind of cowardice? What kind of cowardice is this, man? What kind of coward are you?
You're talking about the Thomas Edison comment?
Wow, look at him. Now, this coward sat here the whole time trying to play dumb. Look how long he said that. He's scared of his own words. Dude, you know what? We need to send you to the pink. We need to send you to the pink store.
Going crazy.
We need to get you to the pink store, okay? Victoria's Secret has some lace drawers you can put on. They won't, bunch, and they won't sit up here and chafe on you. We need something you can actually wear. This was a bad look for you, man. This was a bad look for you. You're scared to stand by your own damn words, man.
Well, it's all right. Like I said, Thomas Edison, the white man. I don't understand why you're going crazy about it.
Why is that relevant? Why is that relevant?
Huh?
Why is that relevant enough for you to say something? What's your point? What was your point in saying that?
I thought we're just having.
What was your okay? I'm asking second time here. Second time for the crack baby. Now, what was your point in saying that?
Oh my God!
You're the one who said it. What was your point? Okay, and what was your point of an observation everybody knows? What was your point? What are you trying to say? You weren't asking a question. You were making a statement.
Interpreted from it.
What I interpret from it is some low key cooning. Is what I interpret from it. And so I'm giving you an opportunity to go ahead and express the coon's position on things. I sniffed some low-key cooning, and you don't get to do that in the chat room.
If you believe I'm a coon,
you got to do that up front here.
Your opinion.
You got to do it up front, sir. Well, you're the one running from your own words, not me. And I think that's a very good example of the caliber of individual who supports Kitten Heels and Fresh and Misfit. I think that's a very good example of it. And by the way, you could never sweep the floors at Thomas Edison's laboratories, by the way. You could never even sweep the floors there. And just understand, this is the level of cowardice they bring. Somebody go get him a lace thong. He needs something he can actually wear to the beach when Lil Nas X has his next prison music video. Dude needs to make sure he's got something proper to wear when he makes them cheeks clap. Caller from area code 714. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Turn off your speakers.
Hey, Jason. Hi, Jason. This is Daniel calling from Orange County, California.
Daniel from Orange County. What's on your mind?
I started off listening to you, like Tariq, Professor Black Truth, and then for whatever reason, YouTube recommended me go to Kevin Samuels. Listened to a couple of broadcasts and just had a funny vibe about him. And so you bringing up those clips, that what you said about earlier kind of brings it all home. Just has a funny vibe about him, and then he kind of, soft shoeing, doing a little bit of tuning. And then those Fresh and Fit guys, never heard of them, but just the fact that black people will go and kind of do the bidding for the whites. It's a little tired and a little played out, and just kind of expect better from people, just knowing the disposition that we're in and trying to better ourselves and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, if you're not cooned out, then it'll be hard for you to identify with what they're doing. I mean, you got to be fully cooned out to be comfortable in that environment. What you just said, though, you actually made a very good point, though. What YouTube is doing, and when I take a look at the YouTube analytics, any of you can take a look at that and see, they recommend Kitten Heels and Fresh and Misfit, these guys who are saying a bunch of stuff that's all against their terms of service and everything, allegedly. All the stuff they shadow ban us from, they recommend them to my viewers. They don't recommend us to theirs, by the way. They don't recommend us to anybody. But they freely recommend them to our viewers. So what does that tell you? That tells you there's an agenda at work. And when you see somebody getting preferential treatment from this system, from something this corrupt and this white supremacist and racist, when you see somebody getting preferential treatment, what's the first thing you understand? Oh, they're not a threat to the system. They're helping it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 901. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me?
Caller from 901, last try. You're on live.
Yeah, this is Chris from Benton County.
Okay, Chris, what city and state are you calling from, sir?
Jackson, Tennessee.
Okay, Chris from Jackson, Tennessee. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just want to say that this victim mentality won't get us anywhere.
Okay, who's a victim and what are they a victim of?
All this complaining about white supremacy won't do anything for us. Because talk is worthless without action.
Okay. That doesn't, do you think that changes the fact that white supremacy is a clear and present danger, is an ever-present factor in our lives?
Yes, you're correct on that. I agree with you on that. But us sitting around having a cry party about it,
then sir,
won't do anything for us.
That's not crying about it, sir. That is acknowledging a reality. That's not crying about it.
We can't acknowledge it all day long. Reality. At some point in time, we have to get up and make a move about it.
Well, we are making moves about it. We are making moves about it. But the real thing here is when you have somebody who jumps up and their first priority is to say, well, we folks being victims and whatnot. Well, you first have to acknowledge that you are a victim of it. It's like alcoholism. You can't fix a problem if you pretend it's not a problem. And most black folk talk like you. They talk like they're not victims. There is no problem. We is our own worst enemies, as if you don't live in a global system that is with the most powerful military machine on the planet, the most powerful economy on the planet, the most powerful media propaganda system that's ever existed. Yeah, you are being victimized. You didn't just end up here by accident. You are a victim. You are being victimized.
Yes, sir. You're correct. You're correct about that. I agree with you on that.
After you deal with that, then you can start discussing answers. But right now, we got a bunch of folks sitting out here repeating Thomas Sowell, telling us that you're not victims of anything. Hell, we got a couple of fellas telling you that the white man is the. We got a couple of fellas sitting up here making a YouTube channel telling you that the white men are the ones who are the victims.
Yeah, I don't agree with that because that's completely stupid. But my point is, we can't just be victims all our lives. Like, yes, we've been victimized, but when are we going to take that step forward and begin to do something about it?
Okay. The first thing you have to do is you have to recognize and understand that you are. You're trying to jump ahead to something else and say, okay, well, can we stop discussing unpleasant truths? They might
what I'm saying is we've been
unpleasant, but you have
this
to do
since
that.
The 60s with Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. We've been acknowledged the problem.
The majority to say
to
something like that is to imply that the majority of black people agree with Malcolm X. That's just an outright lie. The majority of black people did not agree with Malcolm X. They did not. That is a complete distortion to imply that, then we never did get this done, sir. That refutes what you just said. We've been talking about this since we have not been dealing with this the whole time. We wouldn't have needed a Malcolm X if we did. Sir, no, it has not been acknowledged by black society as a group. It's been acknowledged by a few individuals.
Yes, it has. It's been indoctrinated in us since elementary school, teaching us about slavery and, oh, you've been slaves and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, and what now?
Okay, so you're glossing over slavery. Interesting. Tell us more.
Man, okay, I understand that we've been through slavery.
Oh, we've been through it. So we're not still enduring slavery. Interesting. Keep going.
We're still enduring it because we keep languishing over it. Like, okay, and people across history have always been enslaved. So what? You don't overcome it by continuing to just cry about it.
Go on, and the floor is yours, sir.
And my point is, just crying about it won't get us anywhere. Like, okay, we know that bad things have happened. Okay, ain't. Like, yes, it's bad, but it is what it is.
Sir, the floor is yours. Please educate us.
There's nothing much more to say because, I mean, just crying about it won't get us anywhere. I can't say much more than that.
You're repeating yourself. Do you have something new to teach us?
I just said there's nothing much more to say than that. Now you're playing the music.
This is the caliber This is the caliber of their audience. There is no slavery don't matter. There is no system of white supremacy. Even if there were, it is not one of any consequence. Slavery was way back then. It is not an ongoing issue today. And that is just it. I mean, y'all just whining about it there. You're just crying about it there. This is the Kevin. I'm very glad he called in. This is the Kitten Heels Fresh and Misfit audience. This is them right here. This is it. I couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better myself. This is them. No. You need to stand by it. All these dudes, as soon as y'all tell them that they're with these guys now, they all want to back off from it. They repeat their talking points, but don't want to claim them because it's not fashionable right now. But okay,
didn't refute anything that I said.
Sir. What is there to refute? If you don't think that slavery is an issue, I'm pretty sure you think the earth is flat and that water is dry. I'm pretty sure you think that too. So somebody who's in denial of reality, I expect you next to be eating lollipops backwards. That's all I expect from you, sir. I'm not here to refute you. What you said is so silly it refutes itself. I'm just here to let you talk so that people understand. Yeah, there really are folk out there who really do believe this kind of nonsense. That's your function right now, is to show everyone that I'm not deceiving them when I say that people like you really do exist. That's all.
Okay, that's fine. But I do appreciate you taking my call, though.
Okay. I'm going to let you get back to picking the cotton. I'm going to let you go ahead and get back to that. Let me get caller from area code 409. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Rashad from Houston, Texas, by the way, of Beaumont.
Rashad from Houston, what's on your mind?
I have to give you your props, man. You brought it home because I actually saw the show where Kevin Samuels was instructing black men in corporate America that if they wanted to get ahead, they had to cut their hair. So I kind of just note to file that it was a red flag. And me personally, I'm like, if a black man is in corporate America, you're a nigga with dreadlocks and you're a nigga with a tapered fade. That's just plain and simple. That's what it is. Cutting your hair is not going to change the psyche of a white supremacist. It doesn't matter what a black man does to his hair. So that was the first thing. When you played Thomas Sowell today and him saying that about Thomas Sowell, I went on ahead, man, and just blocked Kevin Samuels' channel on YouTube. I never followed him, but I did watch his exchanges with black women when he said that. So, man, thanks for bringing that home to me. And the last thing, and I'm going to let you get back to your other callers. I listened to your show last night with the when Abba and Priest were beefing with Fresh and Fit. And I'll say this, that was a low blow when old boy said compared his wife to a beluga whale. Like I said, I live in Houston now, but I was born and raised in the country. I'm from Beaumont. And to say that about a man's wife,
you know it.
Hey, I'm to quote the late. Go ahead.
You know it, bro. I know what you're gonna say next, but you know it.
To quote the late great Pimp C, say you ever say that shit about my wife, bitch, I'm gonna come to your house. And it's just like that. That was a low blow. You don't ever say that about a man's wife and not stand on your square. Because I'm telling you, just like I say, like Pimp C said, God rest his soul, I'm coming to your house. You talk some shit like that about me. Straight up. And I'm going to let you get back to your program, man. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal or Cash App. My dude, Pookie Jenkins, thank you very much for your support here tonight. We appreciate that. And to Franklin Graham, I'm assuming that that's not Billy Graham's son. Thank you very much for your support here tonight as well. Kareem, thank you as well. And everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program. Let me get a caller from area code 678. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's good, Jason? It's B1 Top Goon, James from Plainfield, New Jersey. How you doing?
My kid, James Plainsfield. What's on your mind, brother?
Man, yeah, I want to say shout out to you, B1 and Business First also. I definitely want to touch on this. The dude, Kevin Samuels, it's some things I agree with him on, but one of the main things I disagree with him on is when he was saying, this ain't a matter of race. This ain't about black or white. I remember him saying that vividly out his mouth. And I have to disagree with that because, me and we wasn't the one that told black women like, oh, you strong and independent, you don't need a man. This ain't about black power, it's about women's power and such forth. We didn't tell them that. It was them cracks that did that. And
well, here's the real problem though, James. Here's the real problem. The real problem is any time that anybody standing on American soil, truth be told, standing on planet Earth, anytime anybody stands up and says to you the phrase, it's not about race, it doesn't matter what the subject is, it's a damn lie. Everything is about race. Everything. As Neely Fuller taught us, white supremacy dominates all areas of human activity, not some, not most. It dominates all of them. So somebody is full of bullcrap the moment they open up their mouths and say the words, it's not about race. Everything on planet Earth is about race.
Damn right. I agree. And because I'll see crackers, putting their little 2 cents in, when I watch these videos and all that, they'll put their little 2 cents in and I'll check them. I'll be like, well, listen, bro, if you was to put your white women in check, it wouldn't be no women's rights or feminist movement. So don't try to make it seem like it's a gender thing. I'm applying this to crackers. These old liberal, these dudes that's trying to friendly their way in. Trying to make it seem like it's a gender thing. Nah, bro. You fail to put your white women in check. Now white women be wandering off talking about women's rights or feminist movement, women's power and all that. And then it got to a point where they got black women and women of all race into that movement. So I feel like, man, yeah, this is, it's basically their fault. Like you just failed to put your white women in check to where it got into this point where we, supposedly got this ongoing war with our women. And, as far as that Fit and Fresh dude, man, fuck them. And that Hotep Jesus, man, his new name should be Fake Tep Coon. Ain't nothing Hotep about him. Like, especially if he did an interview with Joe Rogan. So, and, as far as the conservative thing, it's kind of tricky because conservatives, I don't like liberals. You already know I hate liberals. I hate that. So, but I remember Tariq Nasheed, he had interviewed some young black Republican in Chicago a couple months back, and Tariq Nasheed basically said, well, foundation of black Americans are naturally conservatives. But, I might be wrong, but I'd rather be that than be a liberal.
Well, certainly, historically speaking, like I say, Black people have never been these radical individuals about that. But Dr. Claude Anderson said it best, in order to call ourselves conservative, what about America exactly are we trying to conserve? So ideologically, I suppose you could say that black people are right of center, which is a correct thing to say. We don't have a practice in Africa of aborting your babies and all this old nonsense. We don't have that. That's something you learned somewhere else. But certainly the real thing about it is in the American context of those words, in the common American political lexicon, Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, moderate, libertarian, these are terms that do not apply to black people. These are terms that are strictly for the dominant society's consumption. And when somebody tries to smuggle it over here to us as an ideology, because there's a difference between acknowledging that we tend to be right of center as opposed to saying that we are ideologically aligned as quote, conservative, that we're on the same side of the fence as a Newt Gingrich or a Rush Limbaugh, that's where things get distorted. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 646. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Onan Smith from Queens, New York.
Onan from Queens. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. The point that was brought up about people pushing the narrative about things not being about race, I feel that that is directed towards black people so as to get them off of their square and essentially divert their attention from doing what would be positive to the black community at large. And if you look at Queens, for example, really in New York, but especially in Queens, you see microcosms of people operating within the benefit of their own race, right? If you go to Woodside, they have a very large Filipino population, right? The Filipinos, they patronize their own stores, they shop at their own restaurants, and they have their own dry cleaners and hair salons and barbershops. And you can say the same thing for the Mexicans in Corona. You can say the same thing for the Chinese in Flushing, and really all over, right? And I think that America looks at black people operating within that same manner, right? Like the Filipinos or like the Colombians in Jackson Heights or the Greeks in Astoria. If black people were to operate in that same manner, it would essentially take away the economic base that is going to support not only white establishments, but all of these other non-black ethnic groups that see black people, at least in my opinion, they see black people as an economic springboard.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here. Okay, folks, let's not be quite so long-winded. Let me get caller from area code 214. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Kosh from Dallas, Texas. Can you hear me?
Kosh from Dallas. What's on your mind?
This is my first time tuning into your broadcast. I started out watching Abner preach. First time watching them, I felt everything they were saying. Then I came along, Kevin Samuels. I was feeling some of the stuff he was saying, but some of it was off to me. Same thing with Fresh and Fit. Like they just came off goofy to me. I never really messed with them, but I still was able to gather something from their message. And like I said, this is my first night listening to your show. And to be honest, you kind of giving me the same vibes I got when I first saw Kevin Samuels. So I'm calling to ask you, what's the difference between you and him? I believe one of your callers called in and said, where does the lies stop? Where does the truth begin? So I'm asking you, what's the difference between you or Kevin Samuels?
Okay. You say you've listened to the both of us. Is that correct?
I listen. Well, okay. Understand what I'm saying. Don't just simplify it. I listen to Alvin preach.
Yes, sir. You mentioned that already.
Everything
I retain information. I retain information pretty well, sir. How long have you been listening to me again? Because you said you just found me.
Well, you just you said you retain information very well.
Yes, sir.
When I got on here, I said this is my first night listening to your broadcast.
Yes, sir. I wanted you to repeat that. Was what I wanted you to do.
Okay.
So I want you to understand that there's such a thing as called being intellectually lazy. Are you familiar with that phrase?
Okay. I've heard it before.
Okay. What do you think that means, intellectually lazy? What do you think it means?
Me personally, I would say it's like a failure to do your own research, a failure to look into something to see if there's any truth or if there's holes in it, or if anything,
Right.
to just take it at like a surface value without trying to dig a little deeper.
Right, where basically you approach something and you an area where you could very easily find this information out first, and then if you have real substantive questions to ask, then you'd be able to take it from there. But the only real answer I could give you, since apparently you're so concerned about this, you don't feel the need to dig into it, is I guess my short answer to you, using as few syllables as possible, would be that I'm real and they're not. They're posers, they're pretending to be something on the internet, and I'm not. I'm the real thing.
Okay. And in me asking you that question, that was me kind of digging, trying to scratch the surface a bit more. But look at what you giving me.
But do you understand what the problem here is?
Can I finish?
Sir, do you understand what the problem is and what you did? You spent more time investigating him than you did into investigating me. Because
Sir, I'm
even
talking
after
to you right now,
here's the problem.
Conversation with you right
Here's
now
the
and trying to
problem.
move it forward.
All I can do right now
Okay.
is summarize these things on the phone. You would have to go do for me what
Yes.
you've already done for him. You can't leapfrog that
but I
step.
have you on the phone now. I'm talking to you right now.
But
We're
sir,
here.
I can't
Like, why
give
talk to you?
that. I can't give that to you in 30 seconds. You're not listening, intellectually lazy person.
You're not
Just
even
like you
attempting
listen
to
to
give it to me.
him,
Like, you're not
just
really-
like you listen to
cutting me
him,
off.
you're going to
I've
have to
been
listen
trying
to
to have
me,
this
sir.
conversation.
Sir, you're going to have to go
I'm sorry, say
review
the
my
last part again.
you're going to have to go review my videos just like you've already done his.
I am. I still plan on doing that.
Okay,
I've already
then-
looked through a few of your catalogs. I
Then
see that your
call
video is
back.
kinda long, like
Then
2, 3, 4
call
hours
back
long.
after
But I
you
had
have done that. After you've done that, then you can call us back. I can't summarize it for you in a few moments here. You've already gone through his catalog and been misinformed. Do me the courtesy that you've already done him. I'm not going to be able to catalog that in 60 seconds. You've already listened to his. If you could find the time to listen to his, you can find the time to listen to mine. You certainly can. And then after you have done that, then you can come back and we can have a discussion. Because I could sit here and tell you anything on the phone, stupid. Caller from area code 317, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name's Alan from Indianapolis.
Alan from
Indiana.
Indianapolis, get closer to your phone, sir. What's on your mind?
Oh, I apologize. I apologize about that. When it comes to Kevin Samuel, it wasn't even, I've heard some of his stuff in the past, but it's I heard a lot of, stuff that he bit off of you, and even some stuff that he bit off of, Tariq and even, Doug Tishon at a certain point, but it was I heard some of his followers talk, and the venom and vitriol they had for women, kind of showed me that he wasn't the right person to listen to. And it's even with you, when you talk to different people, you kind of help them improve certain things, but he destroys people and then hangs up the phone. And the one dude that called in, that was kind of embarrassing for both of them. So it's his red flags with me came up a long time ago. In terms of a lot of the other guys, Fresh and Fit, it's they fit into that group of people, like the guy who called you a while back. They just want to be comfortable. What are we going to do about it? Just sitting around talking about racism. That's not going to do anything. And it's there's a certain group of people that went through a traumatic event, and they made it a point to let the world know that we're never going to let you forget what we went through. We going to come up out of it, and we're never going to let you forget. So it's where do we go from here? We already trying to improve, but it's there's so many people, an example of that, we're going to just have to leave behind because
this is the importance of doing that.
The white friends or what?
The importance of doing that is having the opportunity to inject confusion into this national discussion. That's the real thing. You have to understand, as long as you are running around in circles, chasing non-issues, debating irrelevant things, or just thoroughly confused about what in the world's going on, as long as you're doing that, guess what you're not doing? You're not fighting white supremacy. That's for damn certain. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 919. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Jason? This is Marcus from Dallas.
Marcus from Dallas, what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Hey, great show tonight, man. I think we got to get back focused, man. I don't know what's going on with these people calling in, but I'm sorry you even got to deal with it. I mean, they're just talking all over the place, but
I'm glad. I mean, this illustrates the caliber of the people who listen to those folks. So I'm very glad that they are calling in and showing that everything I said is correct.
It's like
very important to me.
All their listeners are calling in tonight, man. Don't even worry about that. But I'm going to say one thing, man. Real recognize real. You see these guys on TV, you can see right through them. You can sit there for 10 minutes and watch these dudes and you see their clowns, all of them. You feel me? Hey, be one.
Black First, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. And oh, yes, one other thing that if there's another difference between me and Kitten Heels, a baritone. That's the difference between me, Kitten Heels, Fresh and Misfit. I'm not going to say anything about genitalia, but I will say the difference between me and them is my baritone dropped. Caller from area code 347, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Kevin from Brooklyn.
Kevin from Brooklyn. What's on your
Long-time
mind?
listener. First time calling.
And what's on your mind?
So I tell you how much I appreciate your program. And one thing I really care, to mention to you that you teach people actually things. You actually provide answers to people. And, these idiots who keep calling, stating that, how you different from these idiots here like Kevin Hill and whatnot. You actually provide, people understand critical thinking theory, and not to live in denial. And I'm just calling to you that I really appreciate your program. I listen every day. And I read you on Twitter and Facebook. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 347. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Jason. This is Johnny from Montana, Livingston.
Johnny from Livingston, Montana. What's on your mind?
How you doing? I'm not sure if everyone caught this or someone caught this, but one of the ladies that Fresh and Fit podcast was having a little fallout with, she mentioned that he was in the FBI or used to be in the FBI. I'm not sure if anyone caught that.
I'm pretty sure these guys are willing to tell you that they were everything from a CIA agent to an astronaut. None of those things could be proven necessarily, but what we can prove is that they are certainly instigators and conveyors and traffickers in alt-right philosophies and coonish tendencies. So where they've been employed, I couldn't guarantee you that part on. I do know what they've been doing with their vocation since then. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 520. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is James. I'm calling from Tucson, Arizona.
James from Tucson. What's on your mind?
Yeah. All right, so this is my first time seeing your show. It's my first time calling in, and quite frankly, I only called in because one of your listeners said that if you posted something on there, you got to call in to defend it or something like that. That was the premise.
That's usually what, yes, that is what happens. Otherwise, we banned them for trolling. So.
Okay, so I think I said something about, I get it with Fresh and Fit. I ain't even going to argue that. I think I said something about when it comes to Kevin Samuels and T. Sowell, where was the lie, I believe. And I think I said something to the effect of, just because we don't like the position that they have on on issues or something doesn't make them wrong or something to that degree. I'm not really sure exactly what I said, but it was something along those lines.
All right. Which part of it doesn't matter if Thomas Jefferson and George Washington were slave owners. Do you agree with?
Oh, I don't agree with that at all. I disagree with T. Sowell and Kevin Samuels all the time. But here's my point. I listen to everything. My mom used to say something like, even a fool can tell the truth. So I listen to Boyce Watkins too. I got, Dr. Claude Anderson books right here. I'm reading Powernomics currently. I don't agree necessarily with T. Sowell. What I'm saying is, if he says something to this,
it's sure. Tell me which part of Tom. Tell me which part of you just called in here defending Thomas Sowell. Tell me which part of what he said you don't have a problem with.
The part that he said about all third world nations, and I don't know if this is true. This is another reason why I'm asking. I don't know if this is true, but the part that he said about all third world nations, out of the ones that have been colonized, those have been the most successful economically, and the rest of them who have not been colonized are the worst or historically the poorest.
Yes, tell me which part of that you agree with.
Oh, I don't. I don't know if it's true or not.
Okay, whoa. But you heard. Whoa, no. It doesn't matter about whether or not you think it's true or not. Do you agree? This guy is sitting up here espousing that as a philosophy the world should agree with.
No, I don't agree with it. I don't agree that colonization is cool. I don't agree that slavery is cool. Honestly, like I said, I'm reading Powernomics right now. I get my nieces into this type of stuff. I know that racism is systematically wrought throughout our system. But I think what my point was on my post was that I wanted to argue that when we're talking to these people, I want to argue with them intellectually, and be able to go against them point for point, because I think, yes, it's obvious that in any number of situations they are cooning. To a degree, yeah, but I don't think that helps us when it comes to combating them per se. So what I'm basically getting at is I would like to see how we argue against their points and if their points are fallible, essentially.
Okay. How old are you?
I am 33.
Okay. You're 33 years old.
Yes.
And tell me what part of that you agree with. Because at 33 years old, if you're not willing to stand by what is real and what isn't, about what you want to live under and what you don't, if you can't make the distinction between those two things, that's a problem at 33. That's a real problem.
Okay, I do know what I want to live under and don't, first and foremost. Okay, like I said, I listen to.
You're literally okay, sir. That's the problem right there. What you just said. At 33 years old, you are exposing how much you don't know. Everything is not fit for intellectual human consumption. So when you say I listen to everything, and first of all, do not talk over the host, 33-year-old. When you say something is foolish as I listen to everything, you've just exposed the level of ignorance that you occupy. When you say silly things like that, and you don't even realize how silly that is. That's just like saying I eat everything I see, including stuff on the ground. Yep. No, sir. There are certain things that are simply non-starters right out of the gate. We don't even give it consideration. Well, somebody said the earth is flat. Okay, move him along. No, we don't listen to that. No, we don't consider it. No, we don't, quote, think it over. No, we don't give them an audience. No, we don't. And the fact that you don't realize that means that you entertain a lot of bull crap, which is why you called up tonight to say, well, fresh and misfit. I mean, there's some of that there. I don't like that there, but for keeping it. I mean, I be listening to things. That's the problem. Is you listen to silliness, and when you start occupying it a little bit, you start occupying it a little more, and then eventually you call somebody up saying the things you're saying right now. And here's the real thing that manhood and adulthood are supposed to do. We know that you young fellas today are bereft and devoid of manhood, because at what point do you all just admit that something is wrong and something is gone?
And now I think it is time that you let me speak. I understand that you are the host of the show, but now you're berating me, and I called to have an intellectual conversation with you. Okay? Now, when I said.
Okay. He is a little bit too emotional and a little bit too triggered. But then again, that explains why he listens to Fresh and Misfit and Kitten Heels. I'm not the kind of guy who waxes his legs and then you get on the phone with me like that. You really can't do that. I'm not one of your peers. Caller from area code 301, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Gabriel from...
Okay, whoever you are on the phone, you are trucking down the freeway or something, but you need to take your phone off the speaker. I cannot hear you.
Okay, one moment. Hi, this is Gabriel from Middletown, Delaware.
Okay, Gabriel from where?
Middletown, Delaware.
Okay, Middletown, Delaware. What's on your mind?
I'm calling to... just to thank you and give you props for, what you do. Like, yesterday you said you put a stack, you put a stack on everything that you say. And I've been reading this book called Black Love by Umanja. And, everything that you've been talking about is, it's all in the book, and it's just 100%. And I just thank you for that, because, it's great to hear, that there are people out here that really understand that, this white supremacy thing it's in every dimension. It's super deep, and people don't understand that how deep it is. I thank you, because you really...
Oh, I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button over there, caller. I hit the wrong button and hung up on him. That was an accident. Hit the wrong button and hung up on you there. But thank you, Gabriel, for calling in there. I didn't mean to do that. Seriously, I didn't. He was going a little bit long, but I didn't mean to do that. That was accidental. I was trying to move my cursor over here and hit the wrong button, but we got the gist of it. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 215. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jason, what's going on? This is Phil from Philadelphia.
All right, Phil from Philly. What's on your mind?
I wanted to preface by saying, I've been listening to you for a few years, around 2012, you, Tariq, Umar, so I got a pretty solid basis. Not a fan of Kevin Samuels, he says some things right. Definitely not a fan of Fresh and Fit. And my whole point of calling was to agree with one of your callers before when he was talking in reference to the victimhood. And I don't think that he was able to really fully explain or, make a good point. But, we do play the victim. Not saying that we're not victims, because we are victims of white supremacy. But at some point, our conversation's got to change as far as what we're going to do. Because everybody on here, the 4,000 people, listeners that you got is on here, know that they're victims, but they don't know the first thing to do to start, They're not buying no land. They're not buying no real estate. They're not fixing their credit. We're not doing shit. And all we're talking about is our victimness. You see what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is at what point are we going to say, all right, listen, let's take, let's do this. This is how you make money in here. This is how you make money here. Let's put this together. When? Because, this is all the conversations I hear. And it's not like the shit that y'all saying isn't right. Listen, Tariq says a lot of real shit, but then I had to stop listening to a point when it's like, what else we going to do? What else we going to keep talking about it, or we really going to make a move? You know why nobody else respects us? White people, Asians, whatever, because we don't bring our money and we don't put our money together. Why we can't make any moves?
Let me ask you a question here, brother, so I can I'm listening. So I can clarify a few things here, because I'm kind of lost. Just for my edification here, you're from Philadelphia. Were you born and raised in Philadelphia, by the way?
Born and raised, yes, sir.
Okay, West Philadelphia, East Philadelphia?
I was born in West Philadelphia, yeah, and then we moved to Uptown.
All right.
Like Mount Airy area.
Cool. And how old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, you're 30 years old. 30 years old from Philadelphia. You and your folks have been there your whole lives. So basically you got roots there, and that's important. What do you do for a living?
Real estate and construction.
Okay, well, that's kind of broad and disparate there. About how much did you make a year at that?
About between 80 and 90.
Okay, between 80 and 90.
80 and 90.
All right. How long? That's kind of a real estate and construction. I don't quite understand what that means there. What does that mean?
Well, to further explain, like I buy houses, fix them, and flip them, and then I'm my own general contractor. So,
okay.
I pay myself out from my rehab loan.
Okay, that's good. That's great. How long you been doing that?
About 2 years.
Okay,
going on 2 years.
You've been doing that about 2 years. Okay, that's pretty good there. About how much in cash do you have in the bank right now?
About 20K right now.
Okay.
But I use my money to float other deals. So my money that comes in, I'm usually trying to get it to another deal.
Right. So basically, the money you have in the bank really is spoken for.
Right. Exactly.
Right. And there's what I want you to understand going forward, okay? We can tell you what needs to be done, and I do that all the time, by the way. But it's going to be impossible for you to tell other folk, okay, what are y'all going to do about it and whatnot, and you're not in the position to be able to collaborate with them.
I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't be in a position to collaborate with them, because if there was a play that we could make, like for example, there was, we wanted to start teaching financial literacy to kids, and it's 5 people that says, let's all put up $10,000 together.
Okay,
I can go.
Let's try this a different way, sir. If you all wanted to go in, for example, on a real estate development, you don't have the ability to go in to anything of any consequence. That's the problem. $20,000 in the bank. That's 10% down on a $200,000 property. What are you going to buy for $200,000? And that's assuming, of course, you can qualify for the lowest rate. I mean, but most money for lowest rate.
Well,
is with that for a down payment. What you're going to get for $200,000, and then how much is it going to cost? Even if you had to fix it up, that's on a single unit. We're not even talking about building something. Building something is out of the question altogether. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that.
Right, but you're saying you were asking me what I got right now, like today in the bank, as far as right now at this moment. That's not accounted for anything that's pending. That's not accounted for. And I'm not going to get on here and just say everything.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that. We're not going to talk about intangibles. Let's not do that. You already said what you have. See, folks stay up here and say I'm disrespectful. I'm not disrespectful. They try to play these games about it. Brother, you've already said what you have. And what I'm saying is that I believe you. I'm going to take you at your word. And by the way, your situation is not markedly better from most other black folk out there. And that's precisely my issue. So when you start saying, why don't they do this or why don't they do that? Understand their situation is very similar to yours. But your situation is not dramatically different. Is what I'm trying to tell you. It really isn't. Do you have any kids?
Right, but no children.
Okay, well, fortunately, you don't have that, and I'm glad to hear everything is going well for you there. But this idea that other black folk need to do X, Y, Z, and I'm just going to be just brutally honest with you there. You're not in a position to be, what you're talking about is, well, they're not in a position to make major moves. Neither are you, though. If they wanted to make any major moves, you couldn't make it with them.
Even baby steps. I'm saying, when is our conversations going to change as far as
brother,
solutions?
When you get into a position where you can start having that conversation, not theoretically, but when you're having this conversation with your banker, then you can start asking that. Because you're asking these anecdotal questions on the phone with me. You're not having it on the phone with your CPA or your banker. That's the missing element there. So before you start looking at everybody else and where they need to be, I mean this respectfully, we got to get your house in order first. And what that means is having closer to 50 to 100,000 in the bank. Free and clear, liquid, disposable, not collateral. And you're at a good head start for the age you're at. At least you're at a good point for the age you're at. You don't come from generational wealth. Well, brother, the reason you're asking that question is, by the way, these are questions you're supposed to be asking to your banker. You're not able to ask those questions just yet. So most other black folk are in the same situation. So before we start pointing the fingers at them and saying why they ain't ready, the truth is most of you are not ready to make any significant moves yet. Now, what we need to do is acknowledge that that's where you're actually at. And when everybody who is actually in that situation acknowledges that, then they can actually start making some changes. So give me a call back in 12 months. I'd like to hear where you are.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. It's very easy to take a look at everybody else, and don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of folk out there playing around and goofing off and whatnot, but don't overestimate the situation. That can lead to psychological rambling. Let me get caller from area code 703. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? Brandon from Virginia Beach. Calling by way of Woodbridge. How are you?
Okay, Brandon from Virginia Beach. You sound a little distracted. Everything all right?
Yeah, I'm behind the wheel right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at a park real quick, but yeah, I'm ready to talk. I just wanted to say I've been listening for about a year now, man, and you bring a lot to the table. And I feel like instead of the other people, what you bring is, not just a conversation, but after the conversation, we break it down to levels of how to get to them goals and how to bring us as a people forward. So that's all I wanted to say, and be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 404. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on? This is Nico out of Atlanta.
Okay, you say Nikolai?
Nico out of Atlanta.
All right, Nico out of Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Difficult it ain't. I'm listening to all these brothers on the phone try to do this. I don't know. You dudes talk too much. There's only one teacher. He's on the phone. Shut up and look at the receipts. The receipts is there. Documentaries are there. Day in, day out, these brothers give useful information for us to take and move with it. You guys want to call and talk. I imagine that your checkbook don't look the same. I imagine that you don't give money to Mr. Jason Black. I know we do down here. I know I do personally. Stop talking. Learn something. Shut your fucking mouth and let's get the moving, brothers. Mr. Black, thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for staying on the phone so fucking long. And thank you for having the patience. I will continue to keep funding and we'll continue to fight with you. Good night.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, brother. Please do give us a call again. Let me get caller from area code 916. I've already bypassed his very good advice, by the way. I'm just showing how smart I am, but I'm a glutton for punishment. Caller from 916, you're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Mr. Black. This is Ugo calling from Sacramento, California. Yeah, Sacramento, California.
Okay, did you say Ugo?
Yes.
Okay, is that Hugo or UGO?
UGO.
Okay, UGO. All right. We won't play a pun on that. We won't do that. But what's on your mind, Hugo?
So basically, because I know a couple of my friends who also listen to Kitten Heels and the Fresh and Fit crowd and all them, and like what I've noticed a lot is that they try to say that, oh, like what's the difference between you and them, especially when I try to, recommend them to watch you instead, because they get all the red pill people get their stuff from you. And when they do watch you, all they say is like, they say all these little small, little stupid things, saying like they're kind of afraid to listen to you because you are super real about a lot of things you say, right? And
Yeah.
this brings me back to what the caller was talking about, of like, a lot of people are kind of just afraid of the real. And since kitten heels are a lot more just like they like to hide a lot of this stuff, they're a lot more comfortable and like they feel a little bit more empowered due to the fact that they hide it and they kind of don't reveal a lot of things about them, the more insecure people. So that's one of the things like I want to kind of bring to light. And I've noticed it in a lot of my friends and just a lot of younger people are just, especially in my generation, I have to say, because I'm 24 years old, a lot of them don't really like to listen to the real. And when they hear what you're saying, they always want to refute, or they're super quick to be like, oh, I don't agree with that. Oh, that's super radical, stuff like that. So I just kind of wanted to bring that up about, people in my generation and all that type of stuff.
Well, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call for that. How old are you?
24.
Okay. I want you to learn something from this, okay? A lot of you, and your generation is a particularly challenged generation because you're the first generation that's come to adulthood with smartphones. And you live in an era of smartphones and dumb people. That's in high-speed internet and low-speed intellect. That's where we are today. And your generation is the first generation subjected to all of that. And one of the real problems is that when we were younger, even if you wanted to take a look at adult pictures or adult movies, you had to go buy it. You had to do work to get it. You actually, to meet a female, you had to actually develop some social skills. Today, Facebook will connect you to them and then you just carpet bomb people in their DMs until some wayward, nasty female gives in. And that's what ends up happening. Your generation is particularly challenged in this regard because then here comes Instagram. And I did a program here that's on my Patreon about kept women. And it used to, when I was a kid, when I was young, to see a Lamborghini was like seeing a unicorn. If you didn't live in one of three cities, Miami, New York, or LA, you would never see one. Today, there's more of them to see. I won't say they're common, but they're more common than they used to be. And we live in an era of non-accountability where people are encouraged to pose and pretend to be something that they're not. Everybody is now competing to increase their imagery, even if the image is fake. That Lil Tay thing was a societal mile marker. When you had Lil Tay pretending to be something she obviously was not, and then you had folk defending it, that's a problem. When authenticity doesn't matter, brother. I want you to understand this at your young age. Your generation has been sold on the idea that authenticity doesn't matter. That people don't have to mean what they say. Hell, they don't even have to do what they said. They don't have to be consistent. But why do you think you have a credit score? A credit score is a way of saying that you do what you say you're going to do. That's important. As a man, respect grows from people believing they can believe what you say. That what you say is as good as what you do. They're both interchangeable. But you've been raised in an era where males have grown to adulthood not being expected to do what they say or to be what they say they are. And then when you actually depend on them to make good on what it is they claim they are, and it falls through, then there's no consequences. And that's dangerous. That is dangerous for you to put stock and credibility in individuals who, even if they don't live up to what they claim, there's no consequences for it. No, there's supposed to be consequences when somebody lies to you. There's supposed to be consequences when somebody deceives you. There's supposed to be consequences when somebody falsely represents themselves. There's supposed to be consequences for that. We need reliable people. We need authentic people. That's not an optional thing. That's a necessity. And you're growing up around a bunch of peers and, you go down to Miami or whatever and everybody's pretending they own a car that they don't. The rental market is tremendous because everybody's going to fake ball. They're pretending to live in places they don't, lying their asses off about everything. But authenticity is always going to be valuable, and it's always going to be more valuable than people being fraudulent. And I want you to understand that your peers who have developed a taste and acquired a taste for phoniness, just understand They're playing with fire because what they'll tell you is, oh, it's just entertainment. No, it's not. They're actually believing the things that they're hearing. Why? Because we know they are, because this is the only place that they're getting any information from. Literally, fellas, I mean, just think about this for a moment. You got 24-year-old dudes out there and whatnot. Their only interaction with females is online. Their only interaction. I have been all around this country, coast to coast. I've been in most of your major malls in this country, and I'm seeing groups of young males walking around with each other. That's what I'm seeing. You go by the iPhone store at all these major malls, the girls are walking in by themselves. The boys are walking around, sagging their pants, looking soggy and moist, and all recessive and introverted. Walking around in groups of boys. I did a program from Atlanta, shout out Kitten Heels, your hometown, and I'm sitting here at the Westin watching groups of males, groups of young males now, walking around in packs with each other, smoking weed, watching them piled up 7 and 8 to a room because they can't afford it otherwise. Went down to Miami, saw the exact same thing down there. Because they lowered the rates since the pandemic, so they could actually afford the $300 or so to be able to get rooms, and the cheapest rooms in these places, when really it's supposed to be a lot more than that. Well, they all got their little pennies together for one little old evening so they could sit in the room and smoke weed. And that was it. That was it. There were no females around. Don't tell me about no damn nightlife. The females will tell you most of the guys in your age group are lames. And so they're looking at the guys a little bit older than them. They get fresh and misfit. Think about that for a few moments. If they're looking for guidance, because they're raised by single moms, so if they're looking for male guidance, what's the first thing they're going to run into? I'll be damned, fresh and misfit. That's the nearest. That's the nearest age group they're going to run into. And maybe if they look a little bit further, they'll run into Kitten Heels. Next thing you know, you're just totally screwed up, man. You don't have any reliable sources of information if you go with what is, quote, most popular. YouTube is going to boost the stuff you cannot depend on. They're going to boost the stuff you can't depend on.
Yeah, and that's the worst part too. So I'm just glad. I'm fortunate that I have people in my life that took me towards you, Tariq, and Professor Black Truth to tell me and give me the real.
Well, authenticity is going to last. I want you to value being authentic. Don't let these other fellas wear you down and make you surrender and give up on yourself and be like, well, screw it, I'll be a phony with them. Brother, authenticity is always going to be the most valuable. It's always going to last. Real is always going to win every single time, because what you are is what they're trying to be at the end of the day. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from area code 857. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Caller from 857 has been abducted. We're almost at 3 hours here. I'm only going to take 1 or 2 more phone calls. I don't want to get past 3 hours. Let me get caller from area code 832. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, this is DJ Trillis from Houston. How you doing, man?
Trillis from Houston. I ain't heard from you in a minute, brother.
Yeah, man. I've been listening to everything you've been talking about, and I've been staying on my grind. I just recently came from Las Vegas. Is exactly what you're talking about. People claiming they live in this nightlife, hanging out, bunch of dudes. The only people that I saw that was really consistent in doing big things or doing things they were supposed to be doing, they were with their ladies, like myself.
Pretty much that's it. You're going to see one. You can tell the fellas who are on point, because I saw that in Atlanta. I've seen it in Vegas. I've seen it in L.A. Seen it in Houston. Seen it in New York. You'll see if you see a black man with one female, of course, not no saggy pants wearing sagging dudes, because those are the ones failing in life. Exactly. But the ones dressed like a grown ass man who ain't been to prison or wasn't with somebody's prison wife. Yeah, those are the ones who got their act together. It's very easy to identify who the real shot callers are.
90 seconds. Even though you haven't heard from me much, I made sure I'm present with with the backing of what's real and what's fake. So I don't understand what these guys talking about. Where is the reality? That's just like some black coat quote this other guy said not too long ago, talking about he in the Matrix. He like Neo in the Matrix. A lot of people are lost, and they run into people like this Kitten Hills guy, weirdo, and this other two misfits or whatever they call themselves. And like you said, the women are finding them guys first, and then they dig a little deeper, and then they find this Kitten Hills dude, and they just coming up short.
Yeah, I mean, talk
Every
about
time.
disillusioned. Imagine being in that situation. You're looking for real manhood, and this is what the hell you come across. No wonder YouTube is happy to boost it and whatnot. They can have another generation completely screwed up and fooled, and actually believing that they found the answers, by the way. That's the crazy part. They'll actually be believing that they found the answers, and now you're more confused and screwed up than you ever were.
And that's why when they get on the phone talking to you, they like, what is this? They so out of tune and off code. They don't even know what, like
10 seconds.
Saying, what's real, where the realness ends, and all this other gibberish or whatever they be saying. But I'm glad that real recognize real, trill recognize trill. And you know, I've been in it from the beginning, and I listen to what I relate to. So that's why I hear when I picked up on everything. I've been listening to you ever since when you was doing your documentaries and everything like that, and coming to cities where you had premieres. So I don't know what these other people are doing and why they pointing they, you know, I guess they getting misled pretty much. But the once they get the information, they continue to keep doing it. That's where the big issue is.
Well, at the end of the day, brother, like I say, sometimes life has to teach people their lessons. So if they were told, you know, hopefully you can learn from the mistakes of others. But if you simply refuse, well, I guess you just became a candidate to learn from your own mistakes. And let's be very, very clear. At the end of the day, if you do not lead, you will serve. That is what that's going to be the pecking order. And don't blame anybody but yourself. You're going to choose what you're going to be in this world. If you do not lead, you will serve. Been good to hear from you, DJ Trillis. Give us a call back.
Agreed.
Let me get caller from area code 918. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Flex out of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Flex out of Tulsa. What's on your mind?
Man, I just want to say, man, good job on the program tonight, just like every other night. And keep your foot on their necks, man. Be one.
Black First, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. Let me get caller from area code 504. Got to check in with the boot. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good evening, Jason. This is G from New Orleans.
G from New Orleans. What's on your mind, brother?
All right, brother. First time calling in on The Business, but of course I listen to you on the Black Authority and call in always. I just want to say a great show tonight. I'd like to address just a few things real quick. The ultimate difference between a Thomas Sowell and a Minister Farrakhan is that Minister Farrakhan, while he always encourages black responsibility, he's also willing to attack white supremacy. Thomas Sowell, Larry Elder, all of these old Negroes and coons, they're willing not to do that, and they never have. That's the ultimate difference. So anybody that talks about, well, you got to take personal responsibility, the people who have B1 have always talked about taking up personal responsibility. Tariq Nasheed does it, you do it. Professor Black Truth, just about a bunch of you all. So shout out to y'all for that. I have not listened to, with regards to Kevin Samuels and the other two guys pictured here, I've never really paid attention to their broadcasts, never will. I have seen some of Kevin Samuels' videos, and while they do have some women who do need to be corrected, I think that what I guess was disturbing from what you played was how he was praising Thomas Sowell. And I'm like, dude, this is a guy who has always had his foot on the neck of black people.
He's always been running interference for white supremacists. When you're one of the go-to Negroes for Fox, that's all a person should have to tell you right there. Dude, what are you trying to sell us? You're trying to sell us on Thomas Sowell? Who are you, man? What are you trying to sell us on?
Right. And yeah, and it's not just Thomas Sowell too. They have that other Negro that comes on Fox, Leo Terrell, who's the attorney, a bunch of the Larry Elder, a bunch of these fools that come on there, man. So it's like, get with the program. That's all I have to say tonight, brother. But thank you. Be one.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight, Black. First, let me take one more call here. Caller from area code 404. You're on live with The Business. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Jason from Washington, D.C.
Jason from D.C., what's on your mind?
How you doing, bro? I've been listening to your program for a while, and I've seen a lot of people get influenced by this older gentleman. And what I've observed in my viewing, this guy's never, and a lot of these guys on this platform, they never got no women when they were young. You in high school, okay, it's kind of like when your personality is locked in. They never experienced these things, and now they get a little platform, and, you know, they have a little lane after studying others vigorously, and then they launch these things, and they launch books and self-help and all this, and people are buying in because they're lost. They have no OGs, no big homies. I can talk like this, and how you doing, guys? My name is Jason. Or I could say, hey, my name is Jay. You see what I'm saying? So I can communicate with both sides of the fence. And I see these guys, they're one-sided. Certain people, guys, in order to get the air and the attention of the group, you have to talk their language. You say, I've walked where you've walked. I've worked blue-collar jobs. So I can communicate to you like that. I made my money 20 years ago. I came from money. I was born into money. Real money. Like wealth. You study that, you go to boarding schools, forum schools, such and such. And you tell me, I see a lot of people looking down. It's not about looking down on nobody, guys. We're all trying to get somewhere. We need to unilaterally identify and highlight each other's attributes. This brother you're listening to is talking real stuff. That's why you're listening. Wherever you may have a difference of opinion, you're tuned in because some things he said resonated with your spirit. So stop playing. Everybody's playing, looking for highlights, like ESPN, looking for highlight reels. Oh, this person said that with this one. This person said this about that one. Is that going to change your life monetarily? Is that going to benefit your personal situation? If it's not, stop. Just stop. And say, okay, we're not in high school anymore. This goes back to high school. These guys didn't get no pussy when they were in high school. They're upset. There's a platform where they can unleash their anger on the masses. Whether you're a 240-pound woman or a 120-pound woman, you still need a man, because here's the bottom line. You need to procreate. You need to have a family. There's no time for you to lose 100 pounds, okay, and then have a life. Let's be realistic, guys. So we're shaming tactics on where are we really going with this? And while we're doing all that, how much money we making? That's all I want to say, bro. I don't want to take up too much people's time, man. I appreciate you and be one.
Black, first, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. You know, folks, if you are new here to the business, it's your first time tuning in, you have somebody who showed you invoices you never saw before, you're going to be questioning a whole lot of things right now. You're going to be questioning everything you thought, and you're going to be like, damn, another group of phonies who let me down. Another group of phonies have been debunked, and it's important for that to occur because y'all need to grow the hell up. All this faking and fronting and whatnot. You have a generation of kids who've been raised on smartphones, and you've been raised to tolerate a facsimile of reality. So instead of actually getting your own Lamborghini, you've been conditioned to settle for a picture of one on the internet. Instead of getting your own money, you've been conditioned to accept seeing it on the internet. Instead of getting your own female, you've been conditioned to accept a facsimile of it as a picture on the internet. And then you've got a never-ending group of individuals who are willing to waste your time and converse with you and trade stories with you, but never change your life. The reason why what I do here is so offensive and so abrasive for a lot of you is that it calls on manhood. I actually tell you, okay, here's what you have to do. And a lot of you have already been broken. You don't have any will to fight. You're lost. Manhood is a concept that is above you and beyond you. You've already been beaten into submission. You don't know where to begin. You are intellectually bankrupt and spiritually impotent. You don't know how to accomplish anything. You don't have any confidence in yourself whatsoever. So anything like this offends you. And I understand. But let me tell you, there's a fate worse than this. There's a fate worse than death. Being a male with absolutely no respect anywhere. That's the definition of the walking dead. A male who walks around and is not respected and knows he isn't. The real reason why you all have tuned into these guys is it's a story as old as males are. You're looking for individuals who are respected. That's the reason that the mafia grew to what it is. That's the reason why even in the underworld, the gangsters were always respected, because they were always admired by the young kids, because they were guys in the neighborhood who you saw were respected. At one time, our clergy used to be respected, which is why so many black males were willing to go into the ministry, because the clergy at one time was highly respected. And the internet has presented you with posers and frauds out here pretending to be something you can respect. And if you're just going to be honest with yourself, that's the real reason you tune in, is because when you see them, they've taken on the trappings and the dressings and the camouflage of somebody who is respected. And the illusion holds right up until you dare to call them up and say, hey, why don't you show me how to do what you're doing? Then it all falls apart. Now, manhood is when you see that occur and then you immediately cut ties and say, okay, I'm not going to let somebody sit up here and bamboozle me. That's how you know you've become a man. When you don't allow people to deceive you right in front of your face. So a lot of you, this is what you've been feasting on. This is what you've been having a steady diet of. And I know that a lot of this is new to you. So I want to tell you that after all of your searching and all of your sifting, you found a real place. My name is Jason Black. I could tell you that I'm an entrepreneur, but I don't really think that really suffices to say anything. I'm a guy who has been a lot of places and seen a lot of things. I've seen a lot of fakers and frauds, which is why I can spot them from a mile away. I have seen a bunch of things you never have and probably never should have. But most importantly, I will stand behind every single word that I say. I'm the guy who brings you answers. I don't bring you pictures of Instagram thoughts. I don't bring you pictures of women and cars and a lifestyle you can never have. I present you with a pathway to getting your own. And if you are willing to put in the work and commit yourself to it, then you won't find yourself daydreaming with internet frauds and phonies, lying to you. And then when you call them up, they slam the door in your face because, oh well, you exposed them. The only question now is, would you like to go on daydreaming and playing make-believe with a bunch of con men and phonies on the internet who can't keep their own stuff straight? Or would you like to have a better life of your own? If you do, if that is what you would like to have, then put aside this red pill and pick up the black book. Sit down, your high-value posers, and pick up a producer. I'm inviting you to click the red subscribe button, click the yellow notification bell. There's a reason why YouTube suppresses us. They suppress us because we're the real thing. I don't play make-believe over here. I've achieved a rather good lifestyle for myself, and I am the only individual that you can contact who will help you to do the same thing, if you're willing to work for it. If you haven't become a member of our Patreon, you want to do that. We have things that we don't post here on YouTube for the obvious reasons, and this is your opportunity to really get gamed up over there as well. You have options. You don't have to stay down in the filth and the gutter with these phonies and frauds. You don't have to do that. Go through the archive, listen to the videos, see what it's like when you listen to somebody who actually has answers. But you have better options. I guess we'll see what character you possess, or what you do with your better options now. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business or your business will handle you.